back. And this couple I'm going to bring up, here's what I'll say about Jerry and Allison. If anybody's ever wondered, listen, I don't know. Here's, to me, it's the best story in the world. How many of you have been like, I'd like to say something to this couple, but they're so busy. They got multiple LLC, multiple businesses. They're not going to do this. Has any of you ever thought that? Come on, follow me now. I have. I want to tell you somebody that, listen, I say this about Todd and Ashley Rowland all the time. They're legends in the industry, okay? And I wouldn't just follow alongside just anybody. The reason I follow alongside these two is because they're people of character. They're people of character. The reason I got Chris Doyle's back is because he's a man of character. But I'll say this, Todd Rowland didn't bring Jerry and Allison to the business because he told himself on the inside. This guy's like told himself they're too busy. They're too busy. They're too busy. And then someone in the family brought them to the dance. Someone in the family brought them to the dance. Now, Todd and Ashley could not be more happier for them. But I share that to say, to me, the nugget is you never know what people need in their life. So don't take it away from them. Don't prejudge people. Don't go, they're too busy. They got too many jobs. Because you're going to hear right now from Jared, Allison Wyndham, people that have multiple businesses, have been very successful. But not only is here in Partner Co., they're here burning it up in Partner Co. They're building a huge team. 2024 is going to be off the chart for this couple. So without further ado, Jerry and Allison Wyndham.
Thank you, Brent. You speak such kind words. Kind words. I don't normally talk, but I do want to do something today because we've got a huge team here, and I want all of y'all to come up here with us. Photo. We'll go photo. Oh, come on, Papa. Come on, brother. Wow. Now I don't know what to say. Oh my goodness. I never in a million years dreamed that this would happen. This is amazing. We're partners with we're business partners with Cheryl and Keith Thurman. That's our brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Jerry and Cheryl are brother and sister. And they own the businesses with us. So she saw us doing this and she's like, I'm supporting y'all. I'm going to support y'all because I want your health to be good and I want y'all to do well financially. So she's jumped on board with us. And I'll
Well, our topic is why we love this, and this is the number one reason of why we love this business. Is this right here? So, and Cheryl, I brought her on early. She's half my business, so but everyone up here, I mean, it means so much to me. We got brand new. We got some been here since day one, but it really is. So this is my biggest reason why we love this business because these are all now family. I know you've heard that several times, but it is so true because it really becomes, and I didn't say this when I was up here earlier, but as when we hit that rank, and there's a lot of them in here, and Brittany will attest too, when you get to officer and senior officer, you kind of cross a line. It's not about me anymore. It's really about everybody else in this organization. So that's when I start reaching out and helping everybody below me because I start making them better. Yeah. And Charlotte, why didn't you come up here? Yeah. This is anybody, and I think you got a new one. Okay, grand entrance, grand entrance. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, oh, okay. Get it. I got to get in here for a family pick right quick. Family pick. Feels like Thanksgiving, Christmas. Okay.
Thank
Um, and what I like about, what I've done, and I'm sure all of y'all, a lot of y'all done too, but we always try to help everybody because that's what we do. That's me and Allison. That's another thing that why I love this business, because I get to help people just from the get-go. But Todd wanted me to mention when we got recruited, he come to town to give us the spiel. We're doing it. We're not selling. It's like everybody. I'm not doing it. Whatever. Allison wanted to get better, and that's what I wanted. I wanted her to get better too, and I needed to get better. I needed a lot of getting better, no doubt. And it has really helped us do it. But when we signed up, we had nobody. I mean, I didn't have an upline. She was facing tragedy in her life. She was kind of stepped out, and we love her to death, but she was not there. You know, so we were Keith and Cheryl's cousin too. I mean, there's a lot of family going on, but so I felt like I was on an island. So I had to start out, I'd build over on this side and I'd run over here and build on this side and I'd run over here and build on this side, and luckily I come across Cheryl. She took that side, and she got Gary and, the whole rest of that crew over there. And I got over here on the other side and I got Brittany, and Brittany took care of the rest of this crew. So, they talk about that one, and I got several. So, I do have a good growing team. We've got probably 10 or 12 teams in our team, growing. So it's really fascinating to watch and really fun to help. So that's my two top reasons of what I do. He's trying to, but I'm trying to help him. I'm trying to make him rich too, because that's one of our goals. We want everybody up here to make goals, right? Yeah. That's right. That's where we're trying to make everybody as best we can. And I think that's real important for anybody to do it. But that's our top reasons to reason why we do that. Now, we also have yes, Allison's time. She's a little time blind. Y'all know what that means? It means it's now or not now. That's time, right? So her time frame, she works 12 hours. She does. She might not start till sometime and end it. So this is a good hard 12. You got to work half a day. That's all you got to work. Don't matter which 12 hours.
Stephanie's schedule.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
So, but also the time schedule that we have really to help everybody is really on our time. We got a phone, right? We all got a phone. We can do it anywhere, anytime. That's kind of what we're doing these days is anywhere, anytime. And there's a lot of other good benefits. So,
Well, another thing is we do work a lot. We do work multiple businesses, and it takes a lot of time. But this business gives us residual income. We're getting paid every week. Getting paid every week, and that helps a lot because a couple of years ago, we were struggling. We were on a struggle bus, and some of our biggest arguments were about money. We don't fuss anymore like that.
not over, it's definitely not over that. Yeah. So when this came in to our life, me and Keith and we had invested in a phone company that became a data company. We had 60 something employees, 6 million in revenue, and I had a really good job. I was I was the primary breadwinner, and that was a good job. I enjoyed it. It's high tech, and that's all fun. But I'd read that the government decided other companies should take that mantle away from me. So, it got to the point where I couldn't pay myself. So I had to do something else. So I had to lay some people off. Now, I laid myself off first. I'll be honest, I did. But I had to lay off 4 or 5 others too. And that was about the time Todd came in. So, you know, all of a sudden that number one income was, you know, going out the door. But thankfully, Cheryl had the barn going up in there, and she said, "You need to be the barn chef out there." So we were catering on the side and, you know, doing some stuff, doing anything we could to make money.
The barn is an event place that she transformed into a beautiful wedding venue. And she said, y'all come on, cater for us. And Jerry's a good cook. I'm not. But Jerry's a good cook. And we actually made money that we could afford to buy the product.
Right. That helped us get started. It really did. It did. And it helped us start the new Hub City Flea Market up here too. That's really taken off well. So anyway, that's what, when that revenue started falling, this started coming up. So now we've just, I'm not quite there, but I've almost replaced that good income. Because once you get to that level, you know, it is more recurring. So everybody keep going. It don't take you long, especially with the system. It took us 3 years, but with y'all, I think I can get all of y'all up here to a year, you know, or less. So anyway.
One thing I want to add before we let everybody go is call on your upline. Call on them. They're there to help you. Bring them in, call them, get those Zooms set up, call those meetings. They want you to call them. We want y'all to call us. We want to help you. If we don't have time at that moment, we will make time. But use them. That's what's going to grow. You want that personal relationship with your team members, and with you just want it. I mean, I crave this relationship with them.
Yeah.
Most involved, yeah, they know where to put their time. So we also.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank y'all.
And thanks to Todd and Ashley for believing in us. Thank you so much.
So sometimes you really don't know what all lives can be affected in a business like this, where it's a pass it on business. But Jerry and I are second cousins. His dad and my granddad were brothers, and I did never approach them for 20 years in the industry because what he may have told you he was broke, but at one point he was the largest telephone company in the state of Mississippi. So he's done really well in his life. But sometimes good things come to an end. One thing you find out in network marketing is I've never met any good people that haven't gone through a slump. And I think God does that to us all to build character and prepares for the next life. But I mean, everybody goes through it. So don't feel sorry for yourself. Although I did when I went through my slump. We all do, but you got to dig out and go again. And that's what they're doing right now. They're digging out and going again. It's not easy, but they're starting to get that momentum. But what I wanted to share was this girl here is another cousin. Is a little bit more distance to me, maybe fourth or fifth cousin. But Danessa and I had not spoken in 20 years. And she came to Destin, found me on Facebook, reached out, and Ash and I went and met her at the beach. First time in 20 years we'd seen each other. And, you know, this is what I do. So 48 hours later, she signed up as Ultimate and got in the business. And it was before COVID and really Zooms had become effective. And we had, of course, no board system yet. So I was still building traditionally. So I said, Danessa, I'll come to Nashville and help. So we went up there. We started building. I signed up an old football friend, put him in, who also quickly passed away. But before he passed away, he led us to Mark and Beth Lewis. Y'all know Mark and Beth? Some of you have been around for a while. He owns a big insurance company in Nashville, done really well. They're just kind of on the sideline right now. But then Lisa and Mike Gildry, Fred Duff, all that took off under Danessa. Yeah, all of them are in Danessa's business. And but she was one-sided. Like she wasn't really making very much yet. And she called me up one day and said, listen, I talked to Jerry and Allison and they want to listen. So I know how this business works. If I get to you in person, more than likely I can sign you up. So I drove 4 hours one way, and I was in Nashville to do a meeting. I left Nashville, drove 4 hours to meet them, and then turned right around and drove right back to Nashville for the meetings I was supposed to be at. But they signed up. And I said, listen, I'm paying for a condo. It was like 2 weeks before the Destin event 4 years ago. I said, y'all come stay in the condo. I just need you in the seat. Because I know how big businessmen they are. They had to know it was real. So they found out it was real. They engaged slightly. It's been a process. It is with most people. They really didn't engage until about, this past years when they really took off. But that's Danessa's other side. So Danessa now makes probably 700 on a bad week, maybe 1,500 on a good week. So 7 to 1,500 a week. But the backstory was the within a year of her signing up, her husband was diagnosed with frontal lobe dementia and died in like 7 months. So she was left with 3 kids to raise on her own. So she hasn't been able to do this. But out of nowhere, she's getting $1,000 a week in income as a single mom now in Nashville. And she's been able to keep the house and the governor's club they had, and just been a lot of good things come of it. And they actually are going to do a meeting at Ordinessa this Sunday to get her going again. So anyway, so you just never know whose lives are going to affect in a business like this. Say that again. She did not turn her auto ship off.
All right. Our next speaker, I am bringing up Ms. Dana Vollner. Y'all are going to get a lot of good little tips from her about how to share. If you are bashful to share or afraid to share, she is going to tell you why you should not be afraid to have any uncandid sharing and just go after it. She is a pit bull, you're going to learn. And one of my favorite people that I've met in this past year, I have to admit, I don't know if I thought that when I first met her. She probably did not think that when she first met me, because I told her to throw away all of her products that she was taking, thousands of dollars of them. So she was not happy with me in the very beginning. But here she is, and she is going to be opening a store in Medina and carrying all of these products. So she went from just using them to really pushing them. So that's her topic, uncandid sharing.
Well, the person you see on the side was a very unhappy person in 2009. I was on chemotherapy for rheumatoid arthritis, and I had gained 60 pounds, and I was miserable. I was unhappy with every single thing in my life. Other than the fact that I had a beautiful daughter, there was no other aspect of my life that I was happy about. And I decided I was going to stop chemotherapy and went into my rheumatologist and told him I would no longer do it. He had to find another way to fix my rheumatoid. And so he fired me. He said if I wasn't going to take his medication, that he wasn't going to treat me. I've been a registered nurse now for 30 years in April. Makes me sound very old. Started being a nurse when I was 10. We're going to stick to that story. So he fired me. And so I had to decide what to do. But I wasn't going to be this person. I wasn't going to take methotrexate and put poison into my body anymore and feel terrible and not be able to play with my daughter. I was a single mother. And I was working 3 jobs with no child support. And so I found functional medicine. And that helped me a lot. It truly did. And I got off of methotrexate. I got onto all kinds of healthy supplements. And I did start feeling better. I did lose a lot of weight. And I did become higher functioning. I still was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I told my functional medicine doctor 4 years that I was not where I needed to be. He did not hear me. When I finally found these products, I did not realize how sick and tired I was until this stuff kicked in. And when I tell you that I feel better now than I felt in 20 years, like it's amazing, the transformation. My daughter will be 26 this month. And I have started working out with Kristen, which I'm just going to tell you is not easy. I went to Charleston. Jeff and I went to Charleston for Labor Day. I walked 19 miles in 4 days. I probably haven't walked 19 miles in 4 years combined. That's not a lie. This is because that was because of MOA. MOA absolutely got my inflammation out. where I was able to walk. Jeff and I have been together 6 years. I promise we've never gone on a trip, and we've traveled a lot where I've been able to walk any. That was amazing. And we got to enjoy the city and see the city on foot. So it was amazing. I say that because I was taking a lot of high dollar products. And when Kristen looked at all of my products that were expensive, that were from a functional medicine licensed provider and coming from a compounded pharmacy, there were toxins in 20 out of 22 products. There were thousands of dollars of products. They all went in the garbage. It does not matter what you think you're taking. If you are not looking at the labels, even though it's a trusted provider, there are toxins in your products. And so I didn't just trust Kristen because I'm a nurse. I'm a researcher. I own my own business. I researched what she said. I did not just trust her blindly. And when she told me these things, I researched it. And I was astounded to see the toxins that were going in my body. But when I changed and I started taking these products and I started feeling so much better, I didn't have to tell anybody. People saw it. People saw it in my face. I lost my last 12 pounds on the products. And this picture was taken yesterday. And so I am very, like I say, it is amazing the difference. More than that, my friends and my family have gotten on the products. My 82-year-old father, I have my parents on everything I'm taking because I trust these products and my parents on them. My dad is about to have a multi-level cervical surgery at 82. When we started going through his medical records for medical clearance, I honestly did not realize what a terrible medical condition my dad was and how many things had been missed. I took his previous information. He's been on the products 6 months. He just had tests last week. Every one of his labs were normal. He just had a cardiac stress test this week. His cardiologist called me Wednesday and said his heart pump function was fabulous, and she was clearing him for surgery. And so I can't tell you how happy that made me because it was not fabulous 15 years ago. 15 years ago, it wasn't good. And 15 years later, after being on these products for 6 months, it's good. And he is sedentary now and is unable, his pain has gotten so severe because his neck is so bad. He is so excited to have surgery. I've never seen anybody so excited to get surgical clearance. So we're getting surgery set up and he is ready to play with his great grandbaby. I can't tell you how excited he is. That's because of these products. Kristen said I was a pit bull. My name, I was a volleyball mom. My name's Dana. The kids called me the Great Dane. Literally my nickname. My daughter went to Mississippi State. I have a bell that says Great Dane. I am a real follower. My company is managing workers' compensation, so you kind of have to be. You've heard everybody say today, what is your why? What is your why? What is your why? It's not how I approach people. Why not? Why not? Why are you not doing this? What is the reason why not? What are the 3 main health reasons that you have right now? What do you want to make better? I mean, hit them straight front. I hit them straight up. What do you want better? What feels bad? I don't ask them if they want to lose weight. What feels bad? And normally you hear, I'm tired. I don't have any energy. My hormones are jacked up. My thyroid's jacked up. Weight loss is usually way down at the bottom. You hear a lot of things before weight loss. Very rarely is weight loss ever first. Very rarely, maybe 1 out of 10. You hear a lot of reasons. Then why not? Why are you not taking these supplements? Tell me why. Well, because I need to get through Thanksgiving. Why? Why are you not taking drops that can help curb your appetite so that you can get through Thanksgiving without feeling like you need to eat the entire pie? Because it'll help you. It doesn't mean you can't have Thanksgiving dinner and enjoy Thanksgiving, but it's going to curb your appetite. And so you're not going to want to eat the entire pie. You're going to just want to eat a little slice. I make a fabulous cinnamon roll cake. I had a little piece of it. I'm not going to lie. I put a little piece of it in my protein shake just because I felt like that was going to make it healthier. Jeff called me out on that and he said, I don't think that takes the calories away. Makes me feel better about getting it. The cake went in the garbage the next day. So I wouldn't be tempted to do that. But you got to be real about it, you know. Why are you not doing this? Inflammation. People say inflammation. Then you need MOA. You need MOA. MOA will get the inflammation out of your joints. Everybody does drops for the sellers. I'm not going to lie to you, but not everybody needs MOA or needs the drops. Some people need MOA. I'm a nurse, so I'm going to go at this a little differently because I'm a fixer. So I want to fix you. And so when I ask, what are your 3 health conditions? I really want to know because I need to know where you need to start because I need to get you results. So if your number one problem is I can't walk because my ankles are so swollen I can't walk, you're starting on MOA. If you're only going to give me one product, then that's what I'm going to start you on. If you're going to give me 2 products, we're doing skinny drops and MOA. But if you're only going to give me one, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to find out what your tolerance is. What's your tolerance? Now, if you're going to buy, why are you going to pay for retail price? I don't wait to the second box. Why are you going to pay retail price? Because I'm going to be real honest with you. You can pay $30 and you can be a brand partner and you're going to get 30% off right now. That literally just paid for your discount. And now you have a discount forever. I tell them straight up front. That's why I have 92 people under me. That's why I'm an officer. Because I sign them up right at the beginning. And let's do a first order. Now let's set up your op ship. Let's do it. Why not? Why are you going to make it complicated for yourself? Why not? Why is not always the reason to ask. Sometimes you need to ask why not. And don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to make somebody a little uncomfortable. It's okay. Because I can promise you they're uncomfortable having the conversation sometimes. But they need to know they can trust you. But you got to be real about it. And one reason anybody that's on my team knows they can trust me because I'm going to be real honest with you. And I'm going to tell you when I put a scoop of the cake in the Pure Nourish. I'm going to tell you when I'm, like I've been MIA for a couple of weeks because I've had a huge presentation to do for my other company. But that's done and we're back on track. And I'm working on getting my storefront open in Medina. One Sassy Olive coming soon. And we're going to knock this out of the park. We're going to make sure that Partner Co products are everywhere. This whole room is going to do it. You got to believe in yourself. And if you believe in yourself, the people who meet you are going to believe in you. And then you be honest with them. Don't be afraid to share. Show them your fat picture. Nobody had seen my fat picture until yesterday. And these guys were shocked. Then I had to share it. I was not asked. But don't be afraid to share your fat picture. And I know that's like a forbidden word, but it is what it is. And so show it, share your story, and be real with people.
right. I need Jordan up here, Talia, and Alan. And they're going to give us some social media training and boards training. The magic. This is so if you have questions too, I'm sure they would be happy to let you raise your hand. Who wants to start? Don't all jump. Don't all jump. Okay. Thank you, Alan.
The experience we just recently had, we had a brand partner training on my team. And through whatever reason, we found one slip through the cracks. We had a person that had did this business before. I asked, are you posting 9 and 3? No, they hadn't been shown. So we came out of that, and what did we do? Is what we're going to talk about today. Well, let's get your boards downloaded and let's make that first post with you. And within an hour, I think, they probably made their first sale. So it goes back to some stuff that's already been said today, following up with even your people within your own team. Sometimes when you just have that communication with them, you're going to find that you can help them. And by the way, it helps you too, right? So I wanted to share that today. Just remember, within your team, there may be people that just don't ask. And if you don't check with them, you very well may find a diamond in the rough.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about boards because almost everybody here covered social media today and they done a really great job. They gave us some good nuggets. So Brittany taught me everything I know. Literally, we come up with the best system. We sign them up. We train them right then and there. We go through this whole app with them. We show them how to go in and make their first post. But before we do that, we actually have them make a personal post. So it says something along the lines of, hey, y'all, I'm starting a new journey tomorrow. If you want to know more, like, comment, follow along. And we share that to the boosting group just to make sure that everything's working. Everybody can see their post. But with boards, we just go through, well, I'll just do it to show you what we do. So this one looks different.
I paid for boards and created a boards app for our team because we got so many people on top of each other in the Lexington Parsons area that people were seeing the same exact thing, and it was all kind of generic. Boards work, but when they see it over and over, okay, well, just really quickly because you are about to see what I did. So, I paid for boards. We had a lot of problems with people saying, oh, you've been hacked, something like that, just because everybody, I mean, you got 50 people that come on very quickly and they're all sharing the same exact thing. There were a lot of questions raised. So I started making it personal. So I bought boards, paid the subscription, and created our own boards. That's why she's like, this looks different. So we still do use, I check every day to see if Dr. Crystal, David, Ashley Paulson, anybody added something to that board, and then I move it over to our team board. So it is very specific to our team. You'll notice a lot of the faces and team synergy. But see, I still have the 4 weeks of posting. So I did add that in, and that's why you're confused. But we did that because we saw a need, so we just adapted.
Okay. So this may look different to y'all, but it's all the same thing. I'm just used to this system. So we'll click on Slenderized SOG Team Synergy, and then we go into social media 7-day launch. We explain you have the 9 a.m., 3 p.m. We make sure that it's added to keyboards, and we show them all the posts. There's 12 days. Here, Brittany, you come up here and talk and I'll walk through it. You do a better job at explaining it than I do. Yeah. So we show them the social media 7-day launch, and then we show them the text scripts for drops. We tell them if you get any kind of generic question, usually it's going to be right in here. But if you have a question that these text scripts do not answer, just put us in a group chat and we'll be glad to answer it for you. Mm-hmm.
That's it. You don't have to change anything else. Like, just like the instructions, they're on there. Week 2 message, your check-ins, it's all there. If they ask for the price, I always do the 150. All you do, copy and paste to your messages, messenger, text messaging, anything like that. Then I also add underneath there, I also offer Square with Afterpay. So I do that right off the bat. That way it gives them that quick option. Hey, that's kind of expensive, but here's another option. That way they don't be like, "Ooh, I'm going to close this out. You know, it's too high." So that's also what I do. No, you're fine. The speaker. Okay. But also with the pictures where Jordan was saying with the 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. copy and paste. That's your 7-day social media launch. I did that when I first started. I used the 7-day media launch actually and Facebook and pre-sold my boxes. So I started on I think I made my first post on a Saturday and all sold pretty quick, just with these posts. So just copy and paste. You don't have to add anything in there. I promise you, if you do this 7-day launch, people are going to want to buy your product. It's easy. It's out there. It's good to see. It's got a ton of information in it. Oh, y'all got a lot of them. Either way, either way, you get the drift. But then what happens is that I'm actually going to do this myself. You learn that you've actually posted so much. Not everybody sees your posts. Not everybody's going to see the same post. So I've been doing this since mid-September, and I'm going to do this 7-day launch again. Because why not? It's the beginning of the year, and people are going to see this again. So it will attract so many people. And like I said, the same group probably didn't see it the first time, or they unfollowed. So now they're going to see it again. And who cares? Okay, just get out of your comfort zone. I am right now because I want to go outside. I don't want to do this public speaking. But anyways, so that's how you can do that. But I think that's it on that part that I have to say. Just the copy and paste 7-day launch. I just want to add that.
But my big thing is social media. So I like to put a personal post in between there. I do my 9 a.m. Sometimes it's not at 9 a.m., but I do my first post of the day and then I do a personal post. And one of the big personal posts that I done was I was at the fair with my children. I had just got off work. I was still in my scrubs. I told them I had the best energy. You know, I wouldn't be able to take my kids to the fair on a weekday at 9 p.m. at night. And that was a huge post and that blew up and I got tons of sales off of it. But just being authentic, being yourself, just putting yourself out there, even though you're scared, you're going to get judged no matter what you do. People are going to talk about you to the day you die. So you might as well make it good, right? Just do it like Nike.
I got one more. she's a nurse. She's got 4 stair-step kids now and working mostly from home, I think. And we were trying to time up with her baby a time to do the Zoom for third party, right? Well, you can imagine how that works. She said, hey, he's asleep. So I start calling. I don't find anybody immediately, but I know my window's small. So I actually use the boards and condensed version of a Zoom. I'd heard it enough times, right? So I just got her to send it to her on her phone, got her to tap through it. I did the presentation over the phone. So I'll drop those boxes you want off now while you decide. She's now in the business. And oh, by the way, before I got home, I was dropping another box off. The girl says, got your check on the bar. And if you got time, you can show me your presentation. I wasn't expecting to do it. So I just pulled actual text I'd sent the earlier girl, brought it up on my phone and walked through right there. So that is another way to get that exposure, be able to do it all coming from the boards.
So obviously you're proficient, you do boards, you train on boards. You touched on this, I'm gonna touch on this couple of IPA. How important is that Monday through Friday, 9:15 IPA? Or adding new things?
I got folks sitting back there, they've heard it over and over and over. I said, anything we have, you can take everything we've got and put it all in a basket. I get to pick one thing. I'm going to be on the IPA call because I'm fortunate to get to work from home some of the week. Literally had my phone set up, propped up on my computer screen while I was working, listening to the IPA call, hear something, and before we're off the IPA call, it's in my business. So if it makes money, I don't care if it was Canada, California, Florida yesterday, I'm pretty interested to have that in my business today. So it's probably, to me, again, my favorite.
Just so everybody knows, on board, there is a spot, me and Todd will talk on. On board, where the resources in board where the high information is. So if you ever want to know how to get on the IPA, go to your board, it's under team resources. There's that.
The reason Britt and I are trying to overtalk each other right now is because we both know what makes people the real money. And these 3 people are doing what makes people the real money. And a lot of people aren't. That's the reason so the IPA call stands for income producing activity. And the reason that whole call was started a couple of years ago is the whole time we've been in the industry, I've seen people work really hard at this and make no money, nothing that makes a difference at their house. And I've seen them like give 3, 4, 5 years of their life. And I try to coach them, but some people are not coachable. Like they don't listen to what you actually say. They take what you say and then make it and switch it all up. So Brittany, and I say this all the time in front of her, and I've never meant anything bad by it, but I did not think Brittany could do this. She signed up before boards came, and she was not a positive person in my first couple of encounters with her. And I just didn't know if she could do the business. She didn't think she could lose weight. I didn't think she could do the business. So I was almost like, just don't waste your money. But she became so coachable. And she mastered the board system. And she and Ashley tagged up. This is pre-Jordan. Just Ashley and Brittany, and of course, Allison and Jerry. They started doing these 8-minute conversion Zooms, meaning she would get a skinny drop customer, key them up, and they would do it. And they were doing like 2, 3, 4, 5 every day. And what Brittany did better than us, like what I'm telling you, we learned from Brittany. I didn't teach her, she taught us. But then she would, after that 8-minute Zoom ended, she would immediately tell that person, because they pre-sell. So the only reason people don't join you is it's a money objection. No matter what they say, it's a money objection. They don't have it. They don't have 371 to sign up with. They tell you a million things, except I ain't got 371 in my bank account today, or don't have it expendable. So they pre-sell a lot. Probably 30% of your people would pre-sell. 70% of their people pay $30. So when that 8-minute Zooms ends, they pay $30. That's second. She flips them. She says, okay, Ashley, thanks for helping us. We're going to my Zoom link now. She moves them to her Zoom link. And the training you just saw was what Jordan was sharing. They then train that second. Like they don't sign them up and say, we'll get with you next week. They move them over, they do the boards. And then Tammy Maltby, I think on an IPA call is the one that started this, but Tammy started helping people make their first post. I didn't realize how many people were scared to make their own post. I'm talking about just a copy and paste post. They started helping them do that first post. And it just went viral. Like they put 100 people in the business like in 6 weeks. And we don't have anything to do with it. And that's what you pray for in this business, like a business that, so then when this is going on, I'm really bragging on them all the time on the IPA call. And I get a call from Chelsea, and Chelsea says, we don't even recognize Talia. And I said, who's Talia? And I said, I don't know everybody. You got to tell me. So I didn't even know her. But what Talia had done is started getting on the IPA call every day. Never said a word. Like she never spoke up. She was just in the background with her kids at home. So she was hearing every morning at 9:15 exactly what to do. And she was one that actually did it. She downloaded board. Chelsea had already downloaded boards, but she started getting all these tidbits from these other women, and she lost. So the reason Chelsea called me because she'd already sold like 150 boxes, and I'd never even called her name before. So especially this younger generation, like Talia and Jordan and Alan. but Jordan and Talia's world, like, you got to remember, they grew up on social media. They don't have to learn it. They're masters at it already. So all they got to learn is the system, then they go do it. But then the last one I was going to say is then Alan, from day one on the IPA calls when he started showing up, gave the rest of us hope. Because Alan had to go learn it all. He wasn't a pretty 30-year-old girl. He's like me. We're old. We got gray hair. And we didn't grow up with social media. So like we have to go out and learn it. But Alan did it. How many boxes have you sold, Alan? He sold 300 boxes of drops. Alan did, not his wife. Alan. This is not a woman business. This is a business that whoever wants to can do it. So anyway, congratulations, y'all. Y'all have taught us crazy amounts of stuff.
So I actually haven't done the PayPal. I do Square. But
when you go to check out, that it's right there. If you can pay by PayPal, they'll give you the 4 payment options right there to do in the back office. Yep.
Hey, come share how you use it. Hey, Melissa, take my her. You flip them. I told her how you do that. I never know how to do that.
So when you go in, you'll see PayPal or you have your card or whatever, you click PayPal. And then when you go back through the shipping and all that, when you get ready to review your order, it'll say PayPal, it'll have, or pay later. And you hit that pay later and it'll take you to the PayPal site and you can do the 4 payments. So that's what I do a lot of times, especially if I'm getting, I know. I'm sorry. Look, I stay in trouble, y'all. I'm not the one to look at.
it's not offered in every state, though. It's not offered in Missouri as a pay later. And I think it's Colorado. You have to read the fine print on that to make sure that it's available, because we've had some that clicked on pay later and it's actually taken the full amount. So make sure that it's offered in the state that they're in. Which part? Which one did I do this week? Oh, yes. I quit my job to do this full time. So I was working customer service, and I could see the writing on the wall with the company that I was with. They were downsizing, letting people go. They cut our commissions. They cut our bonuses. And whenever I finally put pen to paper as far as what I needed to earn versus the base that they were giving me, I could sell a 10-pack of drops and make what I was making with them, which was little to nothing. So I made that decision and said bye-bye to them. And now I'm doing this full time. Another thing that I do is I have bought a huge purse. I carry 2 boxes of drops with me at all times. So anywhere I go in the grocery store, anywhere I see somebody, I've automatically got a box of drops on me. So I'm going to take that. I'll sell to them right there in Walmart, the grocery store, wherever I'm at. Um, Another thing that I've done this week, I've done all kinds of things stepping out of my comfort zone, but we had an event in Cape Girardeau. So I had some flyers made and I just went and started going into businesses. I'm no stranger to cold calling. So I went into different places that were already established and went in as a simple invitation, took my flyer in with me, a business card, and I was like, have you heard about the skinny drops? And they're like, no. Started the conversation. There's a lot that I'm following up with, some that want to put it in their store. My business card actually has my picture on it, and that matches what my Facebook has. So if they want to find out any kind of information, look at my picture, find me on Facebook. You can go through and start scrolling, reading different things like that. So that's drawing some interest that way as well.
Okay, on PayPal again, if you go through PayPal, if you can't do the 4 payments, you can actually split your total between 2 different credit cards or something like that. So if you're wanting to go ahead and get those drops in and you only, let's say, have half the money or you got somebody paying you cash, you can split that on 2 cards.
So the last thing I was going to say on boards real quick, I know it looked like I really didn't do much there, but that's the point. Keep it simple, stupid. Teach them the bare minimum so they don't get overwhelmed and they know exactly what to do and just leave it at that. And then train as you go.
I have some notes. There's a couple things that I've learned recently. Okay, so QR codes are everywhere right now. So TikTok and Instagram has your own account QR code. If you want to share your social media page anywhere you go, you just go into settings, you find it, share it. Okay, another thing. Let's see. I know I didn't have my page set public for a long time. Didn't even think about it. Not only do you have to set it public in one spot, but you have to go down bottom and you have to click on something called profile and tagging on your Facebook settings. Okay, it's not just one that you have to go public. It's a few. So everybody be sure that everything is public. That way everybody can see it. Unless you got something to hide. Anybody got anything to hide? So get it out there. This one? Oh, okay. Okay. If you hit, just go back. Try to hit your menu down here. The little menu, the 3 lines. Okay. If you'll scroll down, you'll see some settings and privacy. And keep scrolling and see what we got. Or maybe. It's right here though. And you'll notice once you keep clicking that it'll be there. It'll say who can see this and who can say that, and it's a few of them. I got it wrote down. It's called profile and tagging. Okay, but just And you can use something like that, for instance, if somebody is asking you about the drops, however, you don't have a lot of time. So shoot them the QR code of your account and they can go and look through your past months of all the stuff that you've posted. You know, PCOS, your hormone imbalance, weight loss journey. They can see all that just by shooting to your account. And my girl, Jessica, is here. She's actually a huge team member of mine. She's lost 31 pounds in 2 months. All right, Jessica, stand up. We're all out of our comfort zone. She actually taught me about hashtags. So what they mean. Whenever you do hashtags, you've seen them, you know, they're like 10 or 15 after a post, and you're like, what are all these about? People can find you through the hashtags. So if you hashtag weight loss journey, hashtag your new you, stuff like that. If they type in that hashtag, your products, your stuff will pop up. Never knew that. We'll make that. So that's for you guys. I don't think. But mhm. Like I do a lot of home hormone. That's my I need training on that. Take this mic, I'm gonna go. No, do it. You do it because I'd have to find it.
Hey, if everybody can do me a huge favor, for those of you that are on the Wi-Fi here, turn your Wi-Fi off when Reese comes up. Reese is gonna turn it back off, and we're bogged down at freezing screen quit sharing right now. We're just bogged down on it. So nothing to do it till Reese comes up. When Reese comes up, he'll turn it off. We don't have a video where Reese will really mess it up.
Yeah. Thank you. Give to Leah a big hand. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to say this recently, over 750 boxes sold of drops. Ashley too. Ashley streaming in. So Ashley, I know who really did it. No, but Reese is going to talk about time management. And to your point on professional mode, I'll say this about myself. Obviously, I have a pretty good sizable organization in the company. I also have a property management company and other companies. And so time is of essence. And so what Reese is about to talk about is huge to me. Professional mode on selling the drops are huge for me. I hear people talk about it all the time. They're like, I don't have time. I work with a team, you know, whatever. I don't have time. And it's like, I'm not buying that. I don't have time either. But if you go into professional mode and schedule the night before, it makes it so much easier. And I'll tell you another thing it does. If you come across a person that's really struggling with, I call it social acceptance, what my people on Facebook's going to think about these posts. I'm scared to death. Well, that was me. And so going into professional mode the night before and making those 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. posts, they're popping up without me on the moment having to hit the button. It made all the difference in the world. Now I've overcome that. But I didn't build a business here on social media. But now I can, and professional mode has really helped. So You don't have to have a certain number of followers. You once did on Facebook, but Reese is going, because you need to be logged in. Reese is going to touch on that aspect too. Are we ready for him?
Got Wi-Fi on any time in here.
All right, buddy. All right, guys. Hey, we were going to try to load up Zoom right now on the live stream. Just so you know, there right now, I think there's still like 65 people. They've been there all day long. Just today, in this, the live stream on Facebook and Zoom, we've had over 300 individuals. That's crazy. That's awesome. So give a round of hand for everybody that's done that. And Anthony's in Texas running this along with Melissa Jackson and Hill Ballou. They're doing that so everybody can watch and join in with us. They're also going to have that where it'll be on the Level Up Facebook where you can go back and look at it, and also on Anthony's YouTube. So you can always go back if you see he's going to cut it up into some segments. But I was going to bring Anthony up, but I guess we can't do that right now. So I was supposed to talk about time management, and we'll talk a little bit about back office, but I can't really share some of the slides. So I'll try to remember everything. I don't do notes. I just run off my slides. So with that, usually it's Ashley up here that's talking about it. If you don't know who Ashley is, Ashley Antley is my wife. She's the one that started this. If you haven't heard my story, I was a skeptic. And I should go further and say I was more than a skeptic. I was a hater. Ashley brought this stuff, brought the skinny drops home. Her friend Robin, you heard Stephanie and them talk about Robin. Her friend Robins were selling these drops, and she said, "Hey, I got to lose a little bit, and they're hormone things." I laughed at her. I called them snake oil. I called them all kinds of things. And then she said, "I'm going to do the business side too." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Okay," because you've done this before with different things, and you've never had success. So what we're going to do is buy a bunch of product that you're never going to sell, and you're just going to be a user of product. Okay, whatever. And just like we kind of tease on Ashley Rowland and Ashley Antley. They're very headstrong. I'm talking about my Ashley here. Very headstrong, and it would have been a terrible household for a while had I not came to some kind of concession. So I said, okay, I'm going to try the drops. I was 291 pounds. I tried paleo, I tried keto, I tried all that, and I lost weight when I was doing it. But the problem was I was so addicted to sugar. By the time I was 2, 3, 4 weeks in, I was dropping weight. And then all of a sudden I would just be so miserable, and I would give in to the sugar cravings, eat some sugar, and then it was on again. I was back on the Pepsis. So I told my wife I was going to take the drops, and I did it to prove her wrong. 100% prove her wrong. It wasn't a bet. I know that somebody asked me today, like, what was the bet? I'm like, oh, it was just me being or kind of being conniving, and I was going to prove her wrong. And about a week and a half in, I went to bed one night and I was like, dang, I didn't have a Pepsi today. And that's huge for me because since I've been a kid, I've had at least 4 or 5 Pepsis a day. And at the time, I was probably 6, 7 a day. I would go to the refrigerator at work, just mindlessly go. I mean, addicted to sugar. That's the only thing you can say. And I mean, when I was 3 years old, I locked my parents out of the house at Halloween as they're banging on the door telling me to let them in, and I ate all the candy while I'm sitting there saying, "1 more minute, Mom." My mom likes to tell that story and laugh, but about a couple months ago, I'm like, "Mom," I'm like, "That's really not funny. Look at where it went." But anyways, uh, with all that said, my mom's great, by the way, but and she's a dental hygienist, and I ate all that candy. But that night, I also thought I didn't have milk and cookies, and I know that sounds weird as well. I have an immature palate, but every night going to bed since I've been a kid, I've had to have something cold and something sweet. And that night I was like, maybe this stuff works. I was like, okay. And so now I'm down 59 pounds, probably hopefully 60 pounds today. And at the time when I started these drops, I'd given up on losing weight. I'd given up on being healthy. And I thought to myself, I'm going to die early. I'm borderline diabetic. I'm pre-diabetic. I'm taking years off my life, and there's nothing I can do about that. And that's a sad place to be when you have 5 kids too. And okay. Hopefully we can get connected here real quick. not seeing it now, Todd, so I don't know. Oh, well, we'll just keep going. You might have to connect to the right Wi-Fi. But anyways, with all that said, I'm a firm believer in the drops. And on the business side, about 3 weeks after Ashley started doing this, I'm sitting there and I play drums at church. And that week they asked me to play bass, which is a guitar. And I was like, well, I'll play, but I was complaining to my wife. I know I shouldn't be complaining about serving the Lord, but I was. And my wife was like, well, go get that new guitar. I'm like, babe, well, we can't afford it. I mean, I'm a business guy. I work 60 hours a week at least in my normal job. There we go. But my wife said, go get that. And I was like, really? How can I go get that guitar? And she was like, well, I get paid Friday. I said, no, you don't. She works 3 or 4 jobs. She was at the time. And I was like, you don't get paid till next week. And she said, no, I get paid from Partner Co. I'm like, really? How much could it be? It was enough to go buy a new guitar. And that's how she got me into the business. And that's how she got me on the trip in Puerto Rico. And that's where it all started. And I'm so grateful for this. So what I'm talking about is the busy life. And usually it's my wife talking about it because we have 5 kids. And all of those kids are pretty much in different states. 2 of them are in Florida and 2 are in Georgia now. But we've got them spread out everywhere. And then, or 3 in Florida because 1 lives with us now. So that's my little daughter. But we're a blended family, always going. So how many people in here, when you're talking to somebody about the business, you hear, I'm too busy? Who in here is the busiest person that you know? Might as well everybody raise your hands because everybody believes they're the busiest person. It's all perception. So you can't discount that when people tell you that because they truly are busy. We're all busy. Ursula, how many kids? You've got 6 running every which way. You got Jerry and Allison that have multiple businesses. My wife, Ashley, when she started this was her 4th job. And it was one of those things. It's like, okay, how do you really manage the time? And you get that question all the time. So when my wife hears somebody say, I'm too busy, she gets really aggravated. So I have to a lot of times talk her down a little bit on that. But seriously, we have to take into consideration everybody is busy. We've all got kids going every which way. You saw Jordan here, and they have their son. We saw a little bit. I mean, you're just incorporating it into your life, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about, is how we can do this business and still be busy. You heard Jerry and Allison. You saw the team they've got. You heard how busy they were. You heard how busy Ursula is. Everybody in here thinks the same thing and feels the same way. We're just busy. We're all the time going. So what this is for us, and everything I do, I'm passionate about. I don't know if you can tell that the way I talk, I'm a pretty passionate person. So to be passionate about something is when you start to put it into your life. Everybody in here probably has a favorite sports team. You don't have to make time to talk about your favorite sports team, do you? How many times when we jump on the IPAs and we're talking about football in the morning? We don't have to make time to do that. But we don't say, okay, I've got to make time for that. It's part of our life. It's not our identity, but it's part of us. So being passionate about it is the first thing. And the other, for my wife, for her, is like everywhere we go, make it a part of who you are. And when I say make it a part, you can see this actual picture was we were in San Francisco, and she had a bunch of MOA, and it got flagged by the girl checking her, running it through the security. And they pulled her off to the side, and they're like, what is all this stuff? So she literally sold this lady a couple of days later, she sold her a box of MOA from giving her a card. So she does it everywhere she goes. You've heard everybody talk about it. You put it in. Ursula, you were saying it earlier. I mean, it's got to be part of what you are, to the point that it's part of what your kids are. I mean, my 8-year-old, she draws stuff. She thinks Todd and Ashley and Kim Gray, she thinks they're famous people. She's like, when we went to Orlando, she's like, oh, I get to meet the famous Kim Gray. Like, you get to meet the famous Kim Gray, yeah. But she's like drawing things of Partner Code because it's not that it's taking pride or taking this like priority over our family, but it's just part of what we do. It's something that we're passionate about. It's changed my life for my health and then financially. I never thought I was going to be able to retire. Again, My wife and I make good money, but I never thought I was going to be able to retire until this company. And that's what when Todd and I first sat down, that was the first thing I thought. Maybe I can actually retire when I hit 60 years old, or retire, as Brent says, retire into this. So that's, just again, incorporate it into your family. That's just the easiest way. And then you hear everybody talk about the family fun partner co. You're posting that. You've heard everybody. So I'm not going to sit there and talk about that, but just put it in what you're doing. When you look at Stephanie Wilson and you look at Misty and you look at, Chelsea, you look at all their posts that they're doing. Brittany, you said it earlier. It's just part of your day that you're posting your pictures with your product. I'll never forget when we went to Puerto Rico, the whole time it's like, take a picture of me with my moa. Take a picture of me with this. And I mean, so like the whole time I'm in Puerto Rico with them, I'm taking pictures of all of them, of Lindsay and Allison and all of them. But that's what it is. They're on the beach having fun, but they've got products and they're selling products. It's part of their everyday life. If you try, in my opinion, if you just say, okay, I'm going to work this for an hour a day and all that, that's great. Put that in there. But if you incorporate it into your life, you don't really even have to do that. It's just there. The other side is, this is where I struggle sometimes. Use your uplines. Everybody, if you try to do it all yourself, you're not going to be able to do it yourself. For me, like I had to back up and say, Todd, what's going on? He's like, utilize me more. So I stepped back, got on the phone with them and started, and that's what we're doing now. Utilizing the uplines more. Utilizing anybody in your upline and crossline. I called Brent, I've called him several times. Hey, utilize people in crossline. Utilize people when you can't be there. Somebody can be there. Yeah. Yep. And then just on another note on that, do not, if somebody says, hey, will you jump on my Zoom? Or can you jump on my Zoom? Can you do this Zoom? Don't think of it as, sometimes you can be like, oh, that really doesn't help me. How does that help me? That you're not on my team. It does help you. Every single time I get on a Zoom I got on one with Kristen the other day. I haven't done something on there with Kristen in a while, but I heard her go through the products and I'm like, wow, I can use that. I'm taking notes as Kristen's going through it. You're learning more about presentation style, because to be honest, my presentation style was exactly behind Todd's because that's everything I'd seen. And so that's how I am. I replicate what works, but seeing what Kristen did, then doing it with Stephanie and Ursula, doing their Zooms with them, hearing how they talk, hearing things like that, you just pick up so many other things. So that's a totally off subject, but I just wanted to throw that on there. So again, fun, family, partner co, and then we also throw in faith, and just trying to really build on that. Any questions on that real quick? All right, back office stuff real quick. You want to pull that up? Can you pull up the back office? Can you do that? Yeah, if you can. Okay. Thank you very much. So I know Stephanie says she doesn't use back office. She has no idea even what her passwords and stuff like that is. Do you know it? She just don't use it. So with that said, real quick, because I don't want to take up too much time. Oh, sorry. All fives. But with that said, there are so many great tools in the back office, and they're getting better and better and better. When I first started doing this in March, there was a lot of things I'm like, we should do this, we should do that, they should be doing this. I didn't tell them that. They've just been working on it, and there's some cool features that are coming also. So all your customers, all your brand partners are actually in here. You can go get their phone numbers. You don't have to run a whole new spreadsheet to try to keep up with that like I was doing at one time. What's your number, Tilly? Y'all can sign in with your emails. I've never been able to get in with my email. Who in here uses their back office every day? Yeah. It, go ahead. Sorry, I thought we had this pulled up. Why is she doing that? What's some features y'all use in the back office? Anybody? Striking distance. Striking distance is one of the best reports, and we're definitely going to go over that. What do you use, Lindsay? What do you use striking distance for?
A few points to rank up, or being able to watch in their first, 4 Fridays of getting to ultimate and gold. That's the big one. If you have been in this business and you want to make it a business, that is so important. And so tracking those people and connecting and making sure that they're getting orders in before they meet those 4 Fridays.
Yep. Yes. All right. So I'm going to just kind of point and you go. So these are some features they put back in October, and there's actually a new one here. I don't know if anybody's seen it that shows lifetime earnings. That's pretty cool. Okay. So what you do when you're in here, go ahead and click over. We won't click the eyeball, but all you have to do is click that eyeball, and it's going to show your lifetime earnings. That's one tool, but click over one more. Oh, the right arrow, or yeah. Okay. So right here, this is where you can keep up where you are for your week. Everything should be calculating now, from base commissions to new volume bonus and anything you've sold retail incentive. That runs on real time. As it happens, you can see what's going on. Right there. Turn that eyeball, and then your numbers pop in. And for most people, base commissions is what you're going to want to be really looking at, especially people, because that is where you're going to know, okay, did I hit 250? Did I hit 250? That's like the first goal. Hit 250 base commission. Hit 250 base commission every week. So yes. Yep. So that's what I'm always looking at to make sure that's the first threshold I want to cross in the week, is like where that base commission is. And then when you go over to, we're going to look at the striking distance. So hamburger menu top left. Y'all never heard it called hamburger menu? That's what it's called. All right. Go to striking distance right there. Second from the top. You hear that? Anthony, if you didn't hear what Todd said, he said, what do you think you got Anthony for? All right, so here's your great, especially on a wide screen like this, you can see a lot what's going on. What Lindsay was talking about is you can see your business level and what the next points to the next business level. So right here, we know right there, that 292, scroll down just a little bit, Todd. This 292, to get to the next business level, we need 292 points. So we're always looking at this to see who's close to ultimate and how do we get them there. Right here, this is actually the number of weeks. So we know, okay, right here, they're in their third, this should be week. Yep. So they're the third week, and they need 292 to bump up. So we know we've got till next week to get them to wherever we want to get them. So if we want to get them to ultimate, we know we've got to add in another 708. Is that what it is? So you got to put that in because it's 292 till you hit to the next business level. Or no, I'm sorry, that's even lower than that. But anyway, so you go through here, like you've got this one right here, nobody's put their 200 in. So then they'll go to member, then business, then elite, through that whole process. So, but you're looking here for your number to get them in that first 4 weeks. All right, scroll. The whole team, everybody that's in, zoom out real quick. And so you have all their numbers, but you can click on different things. Like you can click on the plus and get more. You can get their sponsor information, everything. But everything's here. Personal volume, the customer volume, that's all for this week. Their current week, this is their cumulative PV. And then this is their next to the business level. And then you get your title advancement. What is your next title advancement? So you can look and see if somebody's only 200 from advancing a title, say, hey, put in a 4-pack and you jump your title. So we use that a lot on title advancements also. Anything anybody wants to add on that? It's exportable. Okay. Yes, absolutely. You can export CSV and that'll open that into Excel or whatever you have. Then you can work with that data. Yes, ma'am. Oh, right here. Like what you're trying to see what your points are to your next rank. Okay. Oh, power leg. You want placement wise. Yep.
I know that, but you gotta know that.
Yeah.
So,
You want me to show the placement real quick?
better masters for you.
So you want me to cover the placement real quick? All right. So your first thing here is your base commission. You also have new volume bonus that's here, carryover volume and all that. Don't worry about carryover volume at this point. That's a great thing that as you go, as your one line's outgrowing another one, that helps you get money back into your pocket from the company, so you don't lose your points when you got a big gap. Yes. Okay. Hamburger menu. Yep. Down to. Okay. All right. Hamburger menu. My money. Volume. And that will take you right here. So this is what's going to tell you how to do, where to place people. It's going to tell you, it's telling you where your volume is. You have all, your total baseline volume all running right here. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is like if you're a builder trying to take care of your team, this is the one thing that you have to master. I'm the least analytical person in the world. I get a headache when I look at the striking distance report. Right after I go through 3 people, I'm like, my head's hurting. I just call them and talk to them. I'm like, where are you? Help me help you. But this you've got to know. So let me go through a couple of things that are important. The simplest is like from elementary level, just pull it up, scroll to the right, and identify which leg is stronger because you're paid on both legs. But in the base pay, you're paid on every leg you ever build, but the biggest. So we identify right now with Michelle, she got 11,829 in leg 2. She has 873 in leg 1. So when Michelle personally sponsors somebody, what leg do they need to go on? Leg 1. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So once you have that mastered, you've got to now go over here to go back to your here, going to go to my business. I'm sorry, just go back to dashboard. Back to dashboard. When you go to dashboard, you're going to click enroll. When you click on enroll, if you're in your back office, it automatically tags you as their sponsor. There's nothing you've got to do. You just get started. It's already showing McKay Enterprises. Now, this is really important. If you leave it on default, it's going to automatically stick the person you sign up at the very bottom. The very bottom it can go underneath everybody on the left. It's going to go left leg all the way down. Everybody's leg 1 straight down. The very bottom on your least working pay line. So if you're working 2 legs, it's going to put it on your least of the 2. If you're working 3 legs, it's going to put it on the least of your 3, but it will not go start a new leg for you. The only time it's going to start a new leg for you is if you only have 1 leg. It'll start the second one you personally sponsor. But the other thing is if you use the default button, the first thing that's going to happen for 48 hours is going to throw it into the placement queue, which I'll show you in just a second. And when you get to the placement queue, you have 2 days to go put it there yourself. If you don't, it's going to default where I just said. But if it's in the placement queue, you're going to follow the same instructions I'm about to show you. So if you just want to place it where you want it that second, if you know the person's ID number you're going to place it under, you can just click manual throw it in there. But if you don't, you're going to click on graphic tree. When you click on graphic tree, we've identified on the last slide, on the volume, that we've got to go put it in leg 1. Her leg 2 is the biggest. So we already know when this pulls up, and by the way, you always have to change this to a large number. If you don't, it won't show your whole business. It's always going to be defaulted once. We already know we're going to put it on leg 1. We're going to go down to the bottom of her leg 1. This is the reason Brent and I didn't want to pull ours up, because we'll never find the bottom. Michelle's about the same way. And iPads are a little harder than a computer. It kind of garbles together a little bit. But you can see there's empty circle there. So if I click that empty circle at the very bottom, and she could have put it anywhere she wanted to, but when I clicked it, that we put it at the bottom underneath everybody, which happened for her to be Brent Beverly, and that just confirms that's where you want it. And you click confirm, and you sign them up, and it's in the right spot that second. That's what you have to master. More importantly, you have to master it. If you're building a team, you have to master it for them so they don't mess up. We've got, if you mess up, you can find an officer that can get a hold of the elite line, or just your upline that got connections in there. We got 8 days we can change after the second day. So it's 10 days total. No really questions asked. After the 10th day, it has to go through compliance, and it's hard, really hard. If they've got a bunch of people already underneath them, it's probably not going to happen. So if you put them in the wrong spot after 10 days, we're kind of messed up on it. Sometimes we can do it, but most of the time compliance will shut that down for multitudes of reasons. Any questions on that? Okay, back to yours.
Unless there's something else anybody wants to see in the back office real quick. Anything? Kristen?
Didn't know if you had anything. You good?
Yep.
You want to flick the lights back on? Okay, well, let's give Reese a round of applause and thank him. All the way from Florida. Our next speaker is also from Florida. This is Misty Isis, and I met her in Puerto Rico, and she is going to talk about something that makes me uncomfortable because it's, well, not self-care as in I like to get my nails done and stuff like that, but she's going to talk about resting, and that is something is really hard for me to do, so I'm really excited to listen to her and see how I can incorporate some of these things she's going to talk about. And this lady is beautiful. She has got the best soul, and she is just genuine, so I'm so excited to hear you. Thank you for coming.
All right. So before I start, I'm going to pray. So those of you who pray, let's do that, please. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you so much for this time, Lord. I have felt you in this room all day, Lord. I thank you for every person that is under the sound of my voice. Lord, I pray that you open their ears to hear the things that you have laid on my heart. I pray that you calm my nerves and that my words are your words, Lord, and that we can take these things and we can go and we can just be all that you created us to be. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so how many of you can honestly say that you know how to take care of yourself? No? Oh, wow. There's one hand back there. I'm so proud of you. That is really scary, but that's exactly what we're here for, because we can teach you, and we have taught you all day long, how to build a business, how to get on social media, how to post, how to share, how to, do all the things. But if we don't teach you how to rest, then we're not really doing you justice, because it's not a matter of if you're going to burn out, it's when you're going to burn out. Okay. So I want you guys to just kind of hone in. I prayed about this. I have scribbled, I have scratched out notes, I have written down Bible verses and all the things. So please hear this from the heart of God. I'm going to share a little bit of a story about me first. Because I learned the hard way that I need to rest. So how many of you in here can say that you're stubborn? My husband's hand better be up really high. But mine's up. I'm here. So, okay. So I am one of those people that is also stubborn. And sometimes God has to shake me, show me, to listen to him. And this is just a little story. I'm reading it out of my journal. I learned a long time ago to write things down or we forget. So I wrote this down, just a little second of backstory. So I had a really good walk with God. I felt like I was walking really good with him a long time ago. So this is my husband now. He is my second marriage. I was married for 24 years. But I thought I was really walking with God good. Marriage fell apart, affair, all the things. Okay. So I was with God that whole time through all of it. He was with me, holding on to me and keeping me up. But I feel like after that happened, I kind of pulled away from God. And I'm seeing now that he never leaves me. But I pulled away from him. And so just recently, he reached down and he grabbed me like he does in that loving way and reminded me that I needed to come back to my first love. I needed to get back to God, that if I was going to do anything for this, with this company, for my family, that I was going to have to come back to him. So this is just kind of the story of that. I was on my way back to him. So I felt him telling me in my prayer time to fast from TV. Okay. So I said, okay, whatever you say. How long? 21 days. This was all, this wasn't an audible conversation, but this was all in my spirit. I felt this, right? So 21 days. So I said, okay. So in my prayer time, I've been praying for God to help me get my life together and to help me get organized because I am not a type A personality at all. Anybody else with me there? I'm not a type. Okay, good. I'm not alone. So I committed that day that I was going to fast a month. So in my mind, as I'm committing to God to do this, my to-do list is just stacking up. Like I'm just making lists and I've just got lists on my phone. I even stopped praying to pull my phone out to start typing up all the things that I was going to do, right? Okay, big mistake. Don't ever do that. Just anyway. So I'm immediately making this list of all the things, right? But when God calls us to fast, he doesn't call us to fast to do the things that we want to do, right? He calls us to fast to focus on him. We're supposed to be giving up something and focusing on him. Well, this is how he showed me that or reminded me that. Okay. So the 10th of November was when I started the fast. Okay. So I had made my list. My whole family was over Sunday, work Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. So it was Thursday night, I believe, we were going to Destin, do a presentation for some friends or some partners of ours. Had never met them, but we went over there to do this presentation for them. So that night, y'all remember I got a headache. I had a terrible headache. Didn't know why. It was a very bad headache, and I asked Ursula to drive us home that night. Didn't think anything of it. The next day, I started having abdominal pain. Okay, what's going on, right? So abdominal pain, headache, didn't know what was going on with me. So the abdominal pain it persisted for about 2 or 3 days. And then on Sunday, I told my husband, I said, I can't do this anymore. Something's wrong. We have to go to the hospital. So Sunday, we went to the hospital. I was already scheduled for surgery on my wrist Monday. So Sunday, I'm in the ER. Diverticulitis, it's fine. I'm okay. Everything's good. But I did have something going on that needed to be dealt with. So anyway, get home, surgery, couple days recovery from surgery. In the back of my mind, my to-do list is still running. That's not getting done. All the things, right? All I can do at night instead of watching TV, because I committed to 21 days and I was not going to let my God down because he did not let me down. All I could do was my Bible study. All I could do was sit in my bed and pray and focus on God. That's all I could do, right? So one night, I'm sitting there. I go through my surgery and all that. So I'm sitting at the bar one night, and I've had enough because I feel like I'm failing. And I'm like, so I'm standing there at the bar, and I decided I'm going to have a pity party. And I invited my sweet husband to join me. So I'm standing there across the bar. I'll never forget it. And I'm just looking at him, and I said, I don't understand. I prayed, and I asked God to help me. He told me to fast. I said, okay. I was obedient. He told me how long. I said, 21 days. Okay, I'm obedient, right? I said, but ever since I committed to do that, I'm either sick or recovering from surgery or in the bed, and I can't do what I want to be doing. I asked him to help me get my life together. Why is he not helping me get my life together, right? And so I'm just whining, and I'm literally crying. I'm sobbing. I have tears rolling down my face. And he's just standing there listening to me. And he looks at me with this, I had to write it down. What's the word? Firm compassion. I know this sounds contradictory, but he gets this look on his face when he's about to say something really profound. And sometimes it's just a few words. Most of the time it's just a few words, but it's always profound and it always speaks to me. So he said to me, in this firm compassion, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." And then he says, "Okay." And then he looks at me and he says, as if from the mouth of God, "Maybe he just wants rest." Okay. I don't want to rest. Dang it. I have a to-do list. I got to do my to-do list. I don't want to rest. I prayed and I asked, and he just looked at me. He's like, "That's all I got. He wants you to rest." Okay. So I go back to my room, to my bed, to my Bible study, and I start resting. Really funny part of the story is, so God's asked me to be obedient. Okay. So I'm reading a Bible study. It's called Discerning the Voice of God. I'm actually going to lead it in church starting next week. But it's a really good study by Priscilla Shire. If you haven't done it, you need to get it. Men, women, whatever. But anyway, I'm reading this study, and I come to a point in the study where she says, she asks the question, and she says, is there anything that God's asking you to be obedient to that you haven't listened to him? I sit there and I think, no, he hadn't told me nothing. So I'm sitting there. I'm trying to think of something that he's dealing with me with that I can't get right. And y'all, I fell asleep. I slumped. I'm talking head over, out of my slumped, fell asleep. I woke up. I read the question again. If I did that once, I did it 10 times. I'm not kidding you. I fell asleep. It's like I had narcolepsy. I fell asleep. As soon as I read that question and I answered it the same way, no, he hadn't said anything to me. I fell asleep. It's as if God reached down from heaven and put me to sleep. And then finally, about 10 times later, and I'm not kidding, it did over and over and over. I woke up and I read that question again, and I'm like, well, maybe he wants me to rest. And so I wrote that down. And as soon as I wrote that down, I was able to move forward with the day's study, and I was able to move on. And so it's like he literally put me to sleep to show me that I needed to rest. And he will get your attention that way, especially if you're seeking him. Now, if you're not looking for it and you're not asking him to help you, he's going to just let you do things your way. But a lot of times he's going to reach down and he's going to slap you and he's going to tell you, Misty, wake up. So I think of Matthew 11:28, where he says, come to me and I will give you rest. Instead, God said to me, if you don't come to me, I'm going to force you to rest. So that was my little story that reminded me to rest. And so I had several verses that I wanted to, how are we on time? We're good? Okay. So I had a few verses I wanted to share with you guys, but first I wanted to see, can anyone define rest for me? What's your idea of rest? There's no wrong answer, really. Napping? Okay. Yeah, I did that. Taking a break? Okay. Not doing anything. Okay. So being still, basically, right? So I Googled it. How many of you use Google? I Googled it. Google defines rest as to relax into something and let it support you. So you think about your favorite pillow, and then I think about just the arms of God. When we're sad, when we're hurting, when we're in that dark place, Chelsea, I think about you being in that dark place. I just think of falling into my Father's arms and just resting, knowing that he's got me, right? So did you know that Jesus, and I can't remember I think it's Anthony calls him our divine upline. He rested. Okay. And he is our upline, right? He should be our upline. He's our direct line to God. But so he practiced self-care. So if he did it and he set that example for us, then we need to do that as well, right? So it took him 6 days to create the entire world. So he's not telling us we can't create our own world. He's just telling us on that 7th day we need to take a break. And we need to spend that time with him. So he knew he needed to be still. So some verses that I did, looked up Habakkuk 2:20, be silent before the Lord. If you've never read Habakkuk, that is a good book. It's a really good book. Psalm 46:10, be still and know. And Isaiah 30:15, in rest we will be saved, in quietness and trust is your strength. Did you hear that? We find strength in the rest. Okay, Kristen? We find strength in the rest. You're strong physically, but we find that emotional strength when we rest, when we take a break, when we put the phone down. For the love of God, just be still for just a few minutes and rest. Guys, if I had fought that rest, I wouldn't be standing up here sharing this with you, because I would have never heard from God. I would have never heard him put this on my heart. Kristen had me set up, do something totally different. And I texted her and I said, God wants me to do something else. Can I do something else? And so this is God. This is what he wanted. So I have an acronym. I love acronyms. So if you want to take notes and write this down, the acronym is CARE, because self-care, kind of rest. So first of all, when you care for something, you protect it. So we want to care for ourselves. If we want our businesses to flourish, we need to take time to care for ourselves. Okay. So C is compliment myself. How many of you stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself you're awesome every day? I don't either. We should, though, and we should say it until we believe it, because you are. Every single one of you was created in the image of God. Okay? That means you are beautiful and you are amazing. and he made you for great things, and he put you in this place for something. Look at yourself in the mirror every morning, and I'm talking to me too, because I don't do this. And you tell yourself every day, I am amazing. I am created in the image of God, and I am going to do great things, because you are, every one of you. How many of you drove more than 1 hour to get here? That's commitment, people. Okay, that's a big deal. Look yourself in the mirror and say, my butt hurts because I wanted to be here. Okay. God knows we've driven 15 hours in the last 2 days. Oh my goodness. But we did it. But tell yourself you're awesome. Compliment yourself. Don't ever think that you can't do that. It is okay. A is align my priorities. So take the time that you're resting to align and focus on your priorities. R is rest, relax. And I said, for the love of God, be still. Put your phone away and relax. And then E is a favorite, exercise your faith. Exercising your body is good, but when you're thinking about resting, you want to focus on something. Exercise your faith, okay? And the number one self-help book is the Bible. If you don't know where to start in the book of Psalms. I learned this just recently, that the book of Psalms literally covers every season that you could possibly go through in your life. A lot of the Psalms are David. David had ups and downs and ins and outs. And I mean, he failed and messed up and came back and became the great king that he was. Okay. So good to bad, there's a collection, and there's songs. They're actually songs that were written to sing to God. But that's a really good place to start. So, and I'm just going to leave you with this. First of all, self-care is not an indulgence. It's a discipline. So, and I think of Kristen because she is very disciplined. You can look at her in her little tights and her sports bra the other day and tell that she's disciplined by looking at her body. She's disciplined. She gets up every day. She works out. She takes her MOA. She takes her stuff, and she takes care of herself. Self-care is discipline too. You have to force yourself to rest. You have to make that decision that you're going to do that and do it. So I believe someone was on the IPA call and they said that preparation time is never wasted time. I wrote that down and I read it all the time. So in rest, we prepare for the next thing. So rest time is never wasted time. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Misty, so much. Okay, so I'm going to bring up Andrea Rosser with me. We're going to knock this out in 10 minutes, okay? And then bring up Chris Doyle. So we're coming on the stretch here, just a few more. But one of the things I want to say that and Andrea is going to do this part. Hopefully you can take some screenshots of it, because I look at this business a lot. I mean, like a coach would look at a coaching a team. Like, things are in systems. Boards are here because it's a system. It's a system that's duplicatable. And one of the things I learned from my mentor in the business in building network marketing is it's not what works for me. It's what I can duplicate to the masses. And he always had something. He always says, Brent, if you want to live with the classes, you got to relate to the masses. Like, the masses has got to look at you and go, I can do that. That's simple. I got time to do that in my busy work day. There's time for that. And you know what? I'd involve the people around me in that. Like, subconsciously, he would say, it doesn't matter. You know, I think I did such a great job on stage. And I'd go behind it and he'd say, was it duplicatable? What you taught, was it duplicatable? What you taught, were people subconsciously saying at a party or an event or a customer appreciation, man, I can do that. I got time to do that in my busy day. You know, I would involve my brother and sister and my aunt and uncle in that. It seems wholesome. It seems something good. And so, in saying that, as the boards have came out, the system of growth, and so many people having success, one of the things me and Andrea constantly talk back and forth about is how can we create and train and coach people to know exactly when they need to do something, you know, where that you don't slip up and go, or how many of you had somebody you look up and you're like, they just sold 75 boxes and I didn't even know it. And that's an awesome thing. But what if every week you looked and like you knew exactly, hey, when this person sells 10 boxes, I know what the next step is. I know what I need to be doing inside of the team. And so Andrea Rosser is going to touch on this. I got to say something. Her business, she already had a big business, but then she started a new line, and I've watched it optimize another line in her business like within 2 months. You think about it, when you get several people that are using the system and they're selling boxes and then they're going back and they're reordering a 4-pack or a 10-pack, that's a lot of 208 PV and that's a lot of 500 PV going into a line of business. And so just yesterday, it was like a new line of hers. She was like, in 2 months, it's already optimized. And it's it's right at optimization every single week of the month. And so this is something I've watched her do with the ladies, a lot of ladies in her business, and they're doing it with their people. So hopefully, as you look at this, you can take screenshots. We'll give you this PowerPoint, but this was huge for me. It's something I will adopt. So I'm going to turn it to Andrew Rosser.
Well, guys, I've got to tell you, I've been so excited to be in this room and to hear from so many of you. And what I love the most about it is that we're all so different. Like we have all kinds of different personalities in here and everybody's thriving. And how many times have you been in a room with this many people that are kind of doing the same thing, but they're all doing it in their own little way, but they're all winning? I haven't seen that before. And I love that we've created that right here with this system of growth that started over in Florida and then it moved to a little bit in Alabama. We've got all this system that was put in place. But I got to say, my favorite part is that it works for that analytical person. I am a spreadsheet girl. I love a good Excel file. I love the nitty gritty. Like if you guys get on the coach's corner with us, he's always like speaking from the heart and it's always inspirational. And I'm like, I'm going to give you A, B, and C because that's my personality. So 1, 2, 3, we're going to get a list. And I love that this system that you can be a big picture person and you can be that heart person and you can, be out there and speaking in front of a room and feeling great about it. Or you can also be that microscope person, the little picture person, the one that's like, I like the nitty gritty and that it can work for both of you. So I'm loving that about this. And I'm hoping, okay. So what we're going to talk about today really briefly, sorry, I got chatty, is the customer flow and how we work with people when we're moving our drops. So first of all, when you hand them that box, or if you're shipping it out and you look at Pirate Ship and you can see, it's going to tell you what day they're going to get it. On that day that the person has the box in their hand, I want you to reach out to them and send them that getting started text that says, okay, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait for you to love these drops. And it's going to tell them, read that booklet. And it's updated to have the QR code information in there while we temporarily are in between this transition. So if you haven't been on there, updated your boards recently, you'll see that it's got that verbiage in this getting started text, but it says, go take those measurements. You're not going to want to, but take your measurements, take a picture, and it gives them a basic outline of how to use that drops. It invites them to the different groups that are product groups. And it's just, and then also on that same day, I want you to pull them in with somebody else. So if you've got a 2x2 or your upline, whoever you're working with, that you're going to eventually want to get this person on to a conversion Zoom with, I want you to bring them into a 3-way text thread and introduce them. Hey, Mary Jo, I just wanted to introduce you to Stephanie. She's actually the one that shared the drops with me. And she's just going to be our cheerleader. And just have that connection right there because we're going to need that in just a little bit of time. Week 1, so they've got their drops. They've been on them in a week. I want you to love on them. Just like you guys were talking about. I want you to go love on that person. Go remind them, hey, did you take that picture? Did you measure? Oh, I sure hope you did. If you didn't before, do it now. Give them your favorite recipe for the week. Send them just something that's a little bit of love that you're checking on them. How are those drops working for you? But really, we just want to give them some love. Then week 2 is kind of a sweet spot, and we're going to celebrate with them. Now, I like to do week 2 with a phone call. And when I'm making these calls, I let my 2x2 know, hey, if I call you in a couple minutes, it's because I've got so-and-so on the line. So just be ready, right? And I call them and I'm like, oh my goodness, tell me what these drops are doing for you. And they're going to share either a win or a struggle. Either way, I can help them in some way. Okay. So if they say, oh, can't believe it, I lost 6 pounds, I'm going to say, shut up. Are you kidding me? Hold on a second. I don't say anything else. I literally say, hold on a second. And then I grab my 2x2 on the phone and I'm like, remember when I told you about Stephanie, the one that told me about the drops? Well, hold on a second. I've got her on the line. Stephanie, you got to hear this. Mary Jo, tell Stephanie what these drops are doing for you. And Mary Jo's going to be like, well, and they're a little shy because everybody's a little shy when they're bragging on themselves, but that's okay because it creates a bond between them and your 2x2. So all Stephanie or all that 2x2 is going to do in that call is be excited. And I say be a lunatic, like be a little bit crazy for this person because how often do we get bragged on? It's pretty rare. We do in this industry, but outside of this room, how often does that happen? And so Stephanie's like, oh my gosh, congratulate that. That's incredible. It's incredible what these drops are doing. And then she's going to plant a seed right there that says, oh, well, I know you're going to want to get more. Consistency is key. I know before too long, you're going to want to get another box of drops. When you have about 10 minutes for us to jump on a call where I can show you your options for that next box. And they're excited. They like Stephanie now. She just bragged on them. And so then we typically either right then or within 24 hours, we get on a 10-minute Zoom. I call it a call because nobody's intimidated by a call. If I call it a Zoom, all of a sudden they're like, well, I have to have my makeup done. Just call it a call. Send them a Zoom link. They'll get on it because they've already committed. In that Zoom, we're going to work on converting them. That Zoom is what these ladies showed and Coach showed at the beginning of this presentation today or this meeting today, where all we do is we show them that they can either A, get the box from the person that just sold it to them. They're winning, we're winning, everybody's happy. Option 2, open up their Sam's Club membership, pay $29.95, get access to all of our products at up to, and say the up to, 30% discount. Or option 3, jump on board with us. You can get your box for free, get a 4-pack, and you keep yours, sell the other 3, and you're good to go, and we can go build a business with it. But we just give them options. We don't sell them anything. So they're comfortable. It's not intimidating. And then they're in the business. But let's say they didn't. They didn't have a win. They didn't get on the phone with our 3-way person. In that presentation, they said, well, I want to think another week. Let me just see how they continue to work. Well, then week 3, we're going to do the ask because we're going to say, okay, lady, I know you didn't want to get it last week, but you got 1 week left. Do you want to stop in a week or do you want to keep going? We're going to ask them to buy that second box of drops because maybe they're not ready to convert. And then week 4, we're going to love on them again. So our goal, regardless if they ever buy from us again, we want them to have a good taste in their mouth. We want them to say, okay, when they decide to give it another try in the future, they decide that, maybe, they're back on track or their life's back in order and they want to give it a go. They think of you because they got love from you throughout their whole journey here. And we might send them some more recipes, maybe for maintenance or, make sure that they were connected in one of those product groups or, hey, we're going to do a challenge that everybody in our little group, we're going to walk a mile a day. I don't care, but try to include them in something. Love on them for something so that they stay connected to us so that we don't have, which I can admit to this, my first month doing this, I started July 5th. I went to California for a year in a month, felt like, and so many people got that first box of drops and then I forgot about them. And I'm like, shoot, it's been however many months now. And I'm like, oh, Lisa, she did buy a box of drops and I never loved on her ever again. So now I got to go eat some crow with those people. But we want to keep that from happening for you guys. Now, okay, next step is they join us. So that person converts. They pay their $29.95. They activate their business. So they look through their shopping cart and they decide they want the drops and they want some, Rejuvenex and they want some Restoric, whatever it is, some MOA, and they build their box, they're activated, and now they're ready to go. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to get them trained. So we got to get boards on their phones. We got to do that. I would recommend doing that with them. It's a little frustrating to do it when we're not together, but we can make it happen. Next, do that first post with them like they were talking about. It's scary. I'll tell you, this is how I feed my children. I love this industry. I am so committed. When I made that first post, I literally sweat I'm like, I really have to put this on my personal Facebook post, like my personal, really, right here. But I'm so grateful I did, but it was scary. So if you've never done this before, it's going to be scary for them too. So do it with them. Invite them to Level Up Life. Invite them to Partner Code Nation, whatever, business group, you might have some personal for your teams. Invite them in there. Make sure that they are on Telegram and make sure they're jumping on the IPA call. That's what we want to do the minute that they enroll with us. We want to make sure that all of that's set up and they're connected in all of those ways. Once they start moving boxes, and I'm going to give you a rough estimate, okay? But we just want to do it quickly. As soon as they've moved, let's say 4 boxes or more. So they're just starting their business. We want to make sure that they know what's on that previous slide, that they know how to love on their customers so that they can jump on that right away and they don't lift their head up, a month later and they realize, okay, they've sold 60 boxes and they haven't reached out to those people yet. So make sure they know that. Once they're gold and ultimate, we have to make sure, and hopefully we did all this before, but this is kind of like when I touch in with people, I just make sure that these items are done by them. By then, first of all, that their subscription's set up because they're going to need that. They're going to want to get paid. We want to make sure that they're enrolled in their direct deposit and that they have 100% up there that everybody misses, that they deposit 0% of their check instead of 100% of their check. And then we also want to teach them how to leverage their next order because once they've got there, they've moved 30 boxes through their organization. So they're going to need to order another box and we want them to earn that extra 150. So we want to make sure that they're trained there. And then once they've started a team, then we're going to show them how to check the orders. So, in your back office, I know Reese just went over that for all of us. And so there's a couple of different places that you want to make sure they're looking at. So when they look at that volume report, we want them to click on it, click on that number, and it's going to open up all the orders that made up that volume. And I personally, I like to look at all of them. They make me smile. But I look at the 208s and the 500s. And all of those names get written down. Okay, so everybody that has a PV order of 208, everybody that has a PV order of 500, I know that that's a 4-pack or a 10-pack. So I'm going to look at the name and I'm going to look at the email address. So I say, okay, maybe it's your email address, but it's somebody else's name. So I know you placed that volume. So I better reach out to Selena because she's selling a lot of boxes that she's placing volume under somebody else. But if it matches, well, I need to make sure I reach out to that person to say, hey, congratulations, you just got a 10-pack. Let's go help you make sure that they're trained on this whole process. So that's really what we, how we train people, kind of the timeline for this system of growth. And if anybody has any questions, I'll hand it back to Brent.
Great job. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll say this, if you bring in a new brand partner and you try to give them too much, it's overwhelming. Like if you just pull the fire hydrant into their mouth and you're just punching everything in there, they're like, whoa, 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 I don't have time for this. But for all of us coming out of this, so marching orders, like what could we do? Go back to boards and start those 4-week posts all over again. 9 a.m., 3 p.m. or whatever time you do it, twice a day. Get your team rallied around that. Hey, let's start up this 4-week post all over again. They're already scripted for us. Oh, you've done it once. That's okay. I've done it 12 times. You'll sell every time. Go through the 4 weeks. You've got a whole month coming out of this event for you and your team to do that. And then take a screenshot of this and go, okay, am I doing these things when the people need them? People ask me all the time about auto ship. I want to get someone on auto ship or on subscribe and save when they want to. But here's what I can tell you, because I've run this system so much. Even if I don't get them on the front end, okay, it's okay. Sometimes if you say too much on the front end, it scares them a little bit. Here's what if I get them posting and selling boxes of drops, by the time in their 4 Fridays that they hit gold and ultimate, that's when I'm going to lock in and go, okay, I'm going to make sure they're direct deposits. It's like a victory dance for us. It's like, oh my gosh, Michelle, next step for you, you're going to start getting paid from the company. Big time. We got to make sure your direct deposit's set up. We want to make sure your banking's in there. We want to make sure you're on 100 points of subscribe and save. And she's like, oh yeah, you need my credit card now? Like, I mean, they're throwing their credit card at you to get on Subscribe and Save. Why? Because they're already making money with us, right? It's not intimidating anymore. They're already there. They're already making money. So these were really big when I started incorporating them in my own personal growth and my own personal business. And I know they will yours. So we're going to bring up now the money man. You want to say anything? You want me to? Okay. I know how much Todd Rowland loves this guy. So all I got to say about Chris Doyle is for all the new people, you got to understand we all come from backgrounds of different companies. That's what is the beauty of Partner Co. You go, I was kind of in this company. We were all in a company. Okay, some company, right? And Chris Doyle, when we came together, he actually came to Florence, Alabama, and said, "I want to spend some time. I want to get to know you." And since then, we've created an unbelievable relationship. He's just that guy. But what I love about him when it comes to money is he wants everybody to get the possibilities that's here. So he's got a dynamic presentation to tell you today that's going to be interactive. So I'm excited to see it when it comes to base commissions and base pay. So without further ado, give it up for Mr. Chris Doyle.
How many of you are worn out besides me? Okay, stand up real quick, shake your hands, turn to the person that's facing you and rub their shoulders. 2 seconds. I just know I can see it on faces. Don't think I ain't been here and done these meetings when I seen these people just worn out. I can see it on your face. When are we going to be done? Okay. Okay. But here's the good news. I got the topic you want to talk about, or at least the one I love to talk about. If you don't know, my nickname is Money Man because everything I do is about income stream. And that's what I should have been first. They put me at the end because they know I'm long-winded. Well, I'm going to be quicker than normal. But I'm here. The good news is, but I got something I got to tell y'all. I think it's very important. And I'm calling out some of my own people that I thought were going to be here today. Sorry, wait. You'll find out. I'm just straight to the point. I'm sometimes say things I shouldn't say. Where's Val? They gone after I'm going. Right there. You're that Val. Joe, where's Joe? I want you to know something. I see people. See, I wrote a book about 10 years ago called Paying the Price. And there's a price to pay if you'll do something here. And I heard Misty talk about the prayer. I believe in prayer, but I will tell you something else. God feeds the birds, but he don't deliver the worms. You got to do some work here. Val and Joe drove 20 hours. Repeat that. Stand up. 20 hours to come here. And guys, I got people that wouldn't drive across town because it's Saturday. I'm too busy. I don't have any sympathy for them when they're broke. And they said they want to get out of their job. They want to do something better. I got news for you. 22 years ago, I didn't want to do this business. I didn't believe in it. It was something I was against. I had 430 employees in another business. So I was all about doing something to make money, but I joined 22 years ago in this industry because I just needed to get something right now. I'm going to go do my real business. But I didn't know the power of residual income, and I didn't understand the industry because I was ignorant to the industry. It's okay. So what I'm going to do real first, most everybody knows, we're going to skip this part. Team lead, everybody understand team lead. If you don't understand team lead, that's the commission you make on sales or a new brand partner and personal sales, right? Everybody understands team leads. If you don't, that's an easy one to understand very quickly. Ask your upline that. But base commissions seem to confuse people. Base pay and power line, y'all struggle with that part, right? Well, that's one that gives you some problems. So I'm going to tell you what base pay means and and you need to learn this part. This is very, very important. Okay. So Liz, come up here right now. So I'm going to sponsor Liz. I'm going to get my team lead bonus. We just saw Liz's family, and Liz goes out and finds some family members, and she starts getting a little people going, right? So I sponsored Liz. Remember that. I sponsored Liz. So she's on my first level. That's important later. Liz begins to build the business. Let's say she bought a 10-pack. That's 500 points, right? That goes on that line. And I get Jimmy. She finds Jimmy. She sponsors Jimmy, and he's going to start getting a few points. He sells a few boxes because he's excited about the products because things are starting to happen for him. That's one leg started, right? So you don't have any basic commissions yet. You've made team lead off of Liz, but she made the team lead off of him. And now I got Emily, who's right here on the front row. She's like, oh, it's me first. She shouldn't have sat on the front. So I sponsored Emily and start my second leg. And all at once, she gets Alicia. And she gets Selena, who signs up her daughter, Brittany. We already know Brittany's the bomb. She's blowing it up. So this leg, all at once, it starts to explode. Now, this leg's got 4,000 points. This one only has like 1,000 points. Which one's your power leg? Where's your next person going? You get my point? Easy to figure out. You look in that X office that Breach told you, you got 2 legs. As those 2 legs begin to grow, you're going to want to sponsor one more person. Okay, start a 3rd leg. When do you do it? I can't tell you that on personal choice, but I will tell you, you don't want to start more than 3 till you got one of those legs optimizing. Optimizing is 13,334 points. So I'm going to make another point. So look, Brittany comes into the business. We already said she's coming right here. So this leg all at once begins to explode. And see, we've all know the genealogy here to some degree, what's going on. Brett and I are not connected. But all at once, Brittany knew old Todd Rowland over there. This guy got experience. He brings in, I don't know Todd. Todd joins Brittany, and this leg all at once explodes. Where am I going to work? Okay, now here's my thing. I had so many notes I wrote down. This day, I'm really good at putting not much time because I get so wound up about this business. I'm just going to make a point to you. So this leg has 3,000 points on it, and this one had 3,000 points on it. That's equal, right? So there's not really a power line. They're the same. So how much will you make? One of the legs, $450. Now, I've sponsored. So I'm bringing her on, and she's joining my business. I'm going to put her on my line 3. Why am I going to do that? I'm going to start the 3rd line. And let's say that she starts getting a couple of people, and she gets Stephanie, and what we got, now we got 3,000 points on this line. So there's 3,000 on each line. They're all equal right now. So which one's the power line? Just one of them. You don't know which one it is, right? Let's just say they're all equal. But the good news is you're going to get 450 on line, 2nd line, 450 on other line. Now you're at 900. Anybody have any question about that? Did that make it simpler? I think using people sometimes it makes it kind of visualize. Todd's got a screen up there that I should have used the 4,000 points. So he has 4,000 points. So he's showing that the first leg, one will eventually. I'm going to give you an example. You can all sit down now. I'm going to give you an example of something that begins to happen. I'm not saying not coming back. So I'm going to give you an example of something real quick. You think you got what's your power leg. So Kristen had her to start a 3rd leg. I think Todd told her she needed to start a 3rd leg. So she starts her 3rd leg. And all at once, it's her newest leg. And it's running. Chelsea joins. Chelsea gets Dana. And all at once, this leg begins to really produce. And she's like, they're flopping on me again. And she was all upset. I'm like, no, that's a good thing. And all at once, this leg begins to roll. And then she's got somebody else in the business that puts some orders in. All at once, this leg runs over. And she's like, that's good on. Why is that? Because that leg is established. That's what you want. Don't worry about it running over. Then you build 2 and 3. But you don't get frustrated when it does. It will get you like, dang, I wish I had plus. You'll always think that. You'll always second guess, but know that you can only educate. Todd said it best when he said he didn't think Brittany would, he thought she could lose weight because her products are so good, but he didn't expect her to build a business. I'll assure you, you do not know who's going to build your business. If there's one thing I will promise you, I have one person in my business that I knew before I started. Kristen. She's my daughter, so it's not hard not to know her, but it took me 20 years to get her to work, so I didn't need to wait on her, right? So if I'd have waited on her, I'd have been broke. The point I'm making is, now, Kristen, I heard her tell her story earlier, which I thought was funny. I was in another company when I started here, and I lost my blue jean factory, and the fact is that her friends thought I was a drug dealer because they would get checks deposited in her account. She said, my dad's in this business. They just send me money. She didn't know anything about it. She left that part out, right? They don't know how y'all don't know I got the long black coat, so I do kind of look like a drug dealer when I got my long coat on. But anyway, the point I'm making is that you don't know. Does that make sense? So don't worry about that right now. You'll know when it happens, that's a good thing. So work toward the next leg. Once you get 3 legs, if you want to build if you're looking to make $100,000 a year, that's your only goal, 2 legs, you can get that. Guarantee it. Matter of fact, I know somebody making $250,000 a year, 2 legs. But they're stable in place, okay? To build a big business, it's going to take time, but you'll make money as you go. I don't even call this work. It'll get you lazy. I'm kind of lazy now. I can't make the IPA calls because I'm still drinking coffee. Todd gives me a hard time. I'm still in my pajamas at 9:30 and drinking coffee with my fireplace. I'm just being honest. But that's what I started for. I'm a lot older than most of these folks in here. Heard the lady talked about somebody not being on medication at 65. I'm 67 on no medications. And I got leukemia. So that's not normal, right? Why? Good products. If you saw the picture Todd posted last night, my counter was full of stuff, though, wasn't it? Okay, now let's talk about residual income. So as much as I thought I wanted to, for those that don't know, I was in the blue jean business, and I did work for Calvin Klein. I did work for Lee Jeans. I did work for, major jeans companies, but I also did garment dyeing. So all these shirts, it was really big to me because TJ's manufacturing in Florence. I used to do that. I did that dyeing. Now I looked on them. I forgot what country, but they ain't in the United States. I lost my business because of the NAFTA agreement. So what I want you to understand is that's a part of life. Things happen, go wrong. Does that make sense? I lost my train of thought I was trying to explain there. But the thing is, now I'm going to go back to what I was mentioning earlier. So everybody clear on base pay. One leg, and it will not be the same one every week necessarily. Good change. That good? Any question on that? Okay, now another important factor is the match pay. So I told y'all when Liz come back, so I told you I sponsored Liz, right? So when Liz starts my business, I want her to succeed, so I start helping her build her business. We have something called match pay in our business. So when Liz begins to make money, by the way, no minimum, no maximum. Repeat that. No minimum, no maximum. So if Liz makes $100, I make 15% bonus. That simple? If she makes $1,000, I get 15% bonus. If she makes $10,000, by the way, don't think that's not happening in this company. You don't know who it will be. We could point out to people who are making massive money because they found one good person. But it might not be who you found. Let's say Liz, not that good. Jimmy, back again. But Liz sponsored Jimmy. She's on my what? And I may put, with me, I get 10%. He gets paid, not of his money, on top of it, a bonus. Okay? Emily, I need you to get on the other side of Jimmy. Because remember I told y'all I put Emily in? So I'm sponsored Emily, but I put her under Jimmy. What level is she on for me? I'm impressed. See, I thought y'all were going to say third. See, I put her on, but I sponsored her. So to me, I like to look at it like a family tree. So you got your family as your children, your grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Make sense? Just going down the line. Then you got the in-laws. They're the in-between ones. Or the outlaws. Okay? So along those kind of things. You got the ones, but you got extras that go in that someone else brought to the team. They're in the family. They're still family members. You want them to hug on them and love them. I lost my brother-in-law last Wednesday. There's things like that happen. He is the in-between, okay? That makes sense? But my tree is still working. It's still the family connection, the blood. Does that make sense? So that goes through 7 levels. If you become ultimate, you have 3 levels locked for life. 3 levels. Okay, y'all can sit back down. I think everybody got that part, right? It doesn't matter where I place them, as long as I put them in, they bring them in. So that genealogy gets you paid match pay on all 7 levels. But in order to collect 7 levels, you're going to have some base pay. You collect 3 by going ultimate and get gold status. Locked for life. Say it again. Say it with the group. Locked for life. How important is gold level? Gold status. Important. Because you may hit somebody. And I'm going to make another point. I'm not picking on Liz here. Let's say Liz quit. And Jimmy's killing it. But she doesn't know that because you don't have the other leg. Jimmy moves up to my first spot. I get paid on him on first level. Excuse me? Define quit. Chance cancels her auto ship. She's not active. Quit means she's not. I'm quit, kind of. But you got it. Carla, answer the question. If the auto ship goes back, they reactivate. You'd be amazed how many people activate when they find out they got a downline. I had it. I got people I call, you got 700 people and you ain't done nothing. Really? Yes, ma'am. I'm hard of hearing. You have to be really loud. They just move up. And I get paid on them anyway. That nothing to do with me. No. No, they cannot move. That would not be ethical for the company. That's why Todd was mentioning you can't move people after about 10 days. We have a very strict thing to be ethical with the people, okay? Everybody clear on that? Simple enough. 3 levels, locked in. So to collect level 4, you must earn $500 in base commission that will unlock that pay. You have no idea how big that becomes. Level 5, you have to have $1,000 in base commission that week. And by the way, you can do it 1 week and it doesn't happen the next week. It doesn't always, you'll have good weeks and bad. All of us do. mean, that's normal business. Up, down, I don't care what business you do. I mean, you'll have better months than others, right? Level 5 is 1,000. Level 6 is 2,000. Level 7 is 4,000 in base pay. And I know y'all are thinking, how would I ever get to 4,000 in base pay if I'm you? You will if you stay long enough, but it's not going to happen quickly. But Jerry and Allison were up here, and I was so glad they pointed out they've been here 3 years. And they made senior officer, which is 2,000 in base pay. That means they unlocked their 6th level of match pay. My daughter noticed this week match pay changed, didn't you? So she had a guy that's been here for 7 or 8 months who made senior officer. I don't know him. His name's Paul, but he lives in Florida. He made senior officer. I guarantee you she hadn't probably broken her check down because she's too busy for this meeting getting ready. But that's why her match pay went up. But he's been struggling to get it going. But all at once. Get my point? Okay. Oh, never mind. I forgot. She is my daughter. She's already broken that part down. Yes. That's good. If Brittany wants to do that, I don't advise anyone to do that. I'm not telling you, but it's certain circumstances where somebody's in a bad financial position, they're trying hard work, and I'm not telling you not to do that. I don't do that. I got to figure you got to have skin in the game. And if you don't like the products, I know your problem. Hate to say that. If you don't believe in the product enough to buy them, you're not going to make it here. You got to really believe these products. I know they do. I didn't join for that because I joined because it's the best comp plan I've ever seen. But you can do that if you want to. There's no rule against it. That's right. That's right. So that's right. That's my position, but I'm not. She has, and I'm not going to argue with how Brittany builds a business, but she's killing it. Yes, sir. Yes. Could possibly be reinstated, but you know that would be according to how long it's been, all those kind of things. You don't want to get it. You don't want to be in that position. You want people to be unsubscribed and say they got it. If they're not using enough product to do that, that's not a good thing. I'm just being honest. So it's something you wanted to buy anyway. So circumstances are all different. I don't highly recommend you can't afford to buy everybody's auto ship, but if you got somebody in a circumstance you want to do that for, hey, I've seen Todd buy people lots of stuff. I've seen me give away stuff. That's there are always circumstances. But the last thing I want to talk to you about is the reason I drink coffee till 9 o'clock, or I don't get up and I don't have an alarm clock, and I serve my wife coffee in bed. It's because of this next slide, residual. Guys, the best way I know how to describe residual income is if you've never had it. What I mentioned, those companies earlier, they ain't sent me no more checks. 20 years ago, matter of fact, the truth of the matter is when we got shut down, I took 3 months to get my money from Lee Jeans because they didn't need me anymore. So it really struggled. I had to get them a letter written to get from an attorney to go after them. You owe me money. Well, they knew they owed it, but they didn't need me to produce anymore. So they put me on the slow pay list. I don't mean that rude. It's just the way it works. I was going out of business. They were shipping their work to Mexico. All right. But residual income in this business, you have the best one because I can promise you this: these products change lives. If you got something, you think I'm gonna quit Vanali? My asthma's gone. It's cheaper than the copay. So I'm not gonna quit Vanali. Besides that, I prefer breathing better. And I'm not gonna quit my MOA because I quit aching. Doesn't mean I don't have aches. It means it helps the aches. Okay. So my point is that residual income is that products. I learned that from a guy, Todd and I met, Tim Sales. He's like, you got a product that people become passionate about. Even if they don't want to work the business, they're going to keep using the product. I don't even know how many. I got people up in Ohio that started with me 10 years ago, still taking the product. Okay. That's important because they're not building, they're using the product, still counts. They still get paid. Okay. So residual income. Guys, this is so powerful if you begin to look at it. You realize what the slide says? $100 a month. You need $24,000 in the bank with current interest rates. How many of you have got an extra? Let's just say you need an extra $1,000 a month. So you're going to have $250,000 in the bank to draw the interest. Okay. What I'm trying to point out is when I showed this to my attorney, I was drawing out my will. That's when I think it really hit home with me. The attorney's like, I need to understand this because we were worried about our estate planning and all this kind of things. And I sat down with him and I showed him my income. And he said, now, how's this work again? I said, well, it's willable, sellable, trustable. It's going to be willed to my estate. He said, so what's that mean? I said, well, it just means I just keep collecting. He said, for how long? I said, forever, till it runs out. I mean, it could go down, might go up. As a matter of fact, I haven't been working. My paychecks are up about 30%. I ain't done much. Here's the thing I need you to understand. Once you've got an organization built, it's not about you, it's about the team. Okay. So what happens is that when I showed him the figures, he said, now what is your basis here? Because he was trying to figure out the state taxes and all that time. And I said, $695. At that time I joined with a 10-pack, whatever it was we did that day. I think it was $695. And he said, you mean 690? He said, 690,000. I said, no, $695. And he said, and he dropped his ink pen, like bam. I said, explain that again. I said, you bought this business for $695. Yep. I'm in the wrong business. I said, I'm aware of that, but it's okay. You're too smart for me. I wasn't smart enough to go to law school. Matter of fact, I wasn't smart enough to go to college. I barely got out of high school. My dad even checked to see if the diploma was there when I got out the line. He's like, I'm sure there ain't one in there because I had a 1.7 GPA. I ain't proud of it. It ain't held me back none. Okay? Because you know what? This is the only business in the industry I know of that takes someone who has a above average want to and the below average quality. I didn't ever want to stand in front of a room. Todd told me I had to the one time. What? You told me I didn't have to do this part. By the way, just so y'all know, he stood me up. He had me go to a meeting. He knew he wasn't coming. And I got there and he said, oh, you're going to have to present tonight. And I'll have to tell a funny thing because Carla's mother was there and she'd already joined the business. And when I finished it, I said, how did I do? And she said, I don't even think that's the same company I joined. And I'm like, but she said, well, it must have been okay because everybody joined. She said, they just tell you was excited. I said, well, I've been making some money. So I tell you that because residual income, once you get it, the only negative side, it can make you lazy. I don't think I'll ever be lazy, but I want choices. Does that make any sense? I worked awful hard for a lot of things and never made any money. How many of you are from Jackson? I'm going to give y'all an example y'all would know. Y'all been on Carriage House Drive, right? There's a laundromat there on Carriage House Drive. Used to be a dry cleaners attached to it. On the end, I built it in 1982. Cost me $475,000. How much did I say this business cost? $695. Think about this a second. Ran it for 5 years, worked 70, 80 hours a week, and sold it 4 years later before the bleaching factory and paid the guy to take it from me. His name's Jack Holmes. He bought it from me. He's an attorney here in town. And Jack bought my business from me, and then he sold it too. Because he said, okay, now I know why y'all sold this thing. It's a lot too much work. I never made any money. Listen again. I never made any money. And I get people here say, overhead in this business, you have to buy an auto ship every month for $150. I'm like, well, my rent was $14,000. My utility bill was $32,000. That's overhead. Sorry, that's not buying an auto ship, a product that you're going to make you feel better and help your health is not overhead. Sorry, I don't. You know what the problem is? They have a mentality. They have a mentality of an employee. And they don't, and it's sad because our schools don't teach it any other way. We don't have that thing. So guys, understand, you don't have to, you may not be looking for that $200,000 a year, $300,000, may not be what you're after. But a $2,000 a month is $480,000 in the bank. How many of you like to have that? Guys, it's life-changing. I really mean that with honesty. And I'm not one to really want to make a big deal about hyping things. But when they tell you, when you hear Todd talk about timing, I was here, I've seen the picture show before. I'm going to end on this. I don't know who's next. I haven't got a schedule. I'm going to tell you something. I was with another company and I struggled. Matter of fact, 2 years in, Judy was asking me that I think it was ever going to work because my wife was working 70 hours a week as a hairstylist trying to keep our bills paid. And I'm not making sure why I started broke. But okay, so most of in Jackson, it's a little odd. Okay, so if you don't know, if those of you from Jackson, I used to own a plant here that we stonewashed Lee Jeans. But we didn't just do Lee, that we were known as the Lee Jeans place. But that was just one brand. I told you we did Calvin Klein, we did tons of different, and we also did work for TJ's Manufacturing. I did those shirts back there back in the day, those type sweatshirts. Probably remembers. We all remember the hypercolor shirts when they changed shades. I was the one that's patented to do those for Genera. So that's not important, but I made millions. I mean, literally a year. And so I had just, my mind had spread out as this country boy from Decatur County. All at once, my mind expanded. You know what I'm saying? And you ever seen a balloon when you got it first and you blow it up one time, it ain't the same size? Well, that's what happened to me. And so when I met this guy named Todd Rowland, and I bankrupted, NAFTA got signed, and I lost, according to my accountant, $8.5 million in about 18 months. It was pretty rough days. And I went for years trying to figure out what I was going to look for. And I was blackmailed. My sister says, don't use that. Extortion was placed on me to look at this business. And I met this football coach. And I'm like, am I going, he's a businessman? I'm like, no, he's in this. I said, he's one of them pyramids. I swear that's what I said. I was a bail bondsman and a bounty hunter because I couldn't find work. Didn't have no education, so I couldn't fall back on my education. The nurses here could go back to being nurses. What am I going to fall back on? I'm a stonewashed blue jean guy. And no, that's in another country. Gap offered me a job, but they wanted me to move somewhere else. I didn't want to do that. So what I'm trying to tell you is I was looking for something to make some money now. And I didn't think I'd do it long term. And I met this coach sitting right there. And at that time, he was doing okay. And it's okay if I tell him the figures. Todd was making about $30,000 a month. He was just getting started. He was about 18 months into the business. And I hate to say what I said. I called my nephew and I said, this dumb football coach from Arkansas is making 30 grand a month. We about to get rich. That's what I said. And but we become best friends. He stayed with us when he was here this weekend. So my reason for saying that is you don't know what's going to happen. And my attitude was I didn't want him to look. I was negative, lack of knowledge. Now, 22 years later, you couldn't give me that factory back. Because that was a 24/7. We ran 24/7, 7 days a week. We shut down for Christmas Day. It was stress like you can't imagine. Debt, millions of dollars in debt, but we were making lots of money, but it was always stress. Always. I mean, just no way to explain it. And the long and short of it is that I joined the industry expecting to be here short term, make some money, saw people making money, and find my other business. I don't want another business. If we shut down tomorrow, if this company did nothing else, see, I lost my blue jean factory, I owed somebody $3 million. That's a little bit rougher thing to explain, right? What happens here? I'd be really frustrated because I wouldn't have my product, but I wouldn't owe anybody any money. That makes sense? Guys, what I was going to say about momentum, the Todd and I were in the business, and I struggled for 2 years. Matter of fact, I told him I was quitting twice. I ain't going to do this. I said, I can't make enough money. I need to go back. I got to make a living. And so what happened was I started making enough to make things go. And the long and short of it is that about the 5th year, I was making decent money. And then all at once, this thing I'm telling you, it's going to happen in the next 2 years. It's already happened, in my opinion. I've seen it happen. It's something called momentum. I didn't do anything different. We just had a system. That was the key. Had a good system. And we've been looking for the system forever. And it just came out of all things. I've sold, by the way, I didn't tell anybody, but Brent said, how many people sold skinny drops? Y'all showed all your numbers. I got news for you. There's no one in the room sold more skinny drops than me. Why is that? Because I did a women's show in the very beginning without a system and sold $44,000 worth in 3 days. How many reps did I get from that? Very, very important. How much residual? Well, I got 1 rep, but she didn't ever have an auto ship. 1 rep, 0. I made profit. I didn't convert anything. So I learned real quick. So when they told me this, I had to see it work. Then I saw it begin to work. And guys, you saw the answers right in this room. People are making money, and it works. So the system wasn't the problem with the product. The problem was we didn't have the system in place. I wasn't smart enough to build it. I told y'all I wasn't smart. I know how to duplicate. Know how to do what somebody else does. I should add one more thing. Most people know I talked about the blue jean factory. You know how I got in the blue jean factory business? I drove by a guy's house in Union City, Tennessee. Name's Jerry Garin, and he has a massive multi-million-dollar home. He's passed away since. And I asked what he did. They said he stonewashed blue jeans. I didn't try to invent it. I just copied somebody else making money. Try to be smart, just good copycat. Copied in high school. Why would I not copy something else, right? I learned to copy somebody's paper, so I just copied their business model. Works for me, has for 50 years. So, guys, the next 2 years is going to be special. Going to be special. And those who will do the effort will build a residual, and they can decide which part of this they want. Funny part is there's people in this room that we don't have the chart far enough. I can promise you. Mine ain't on there. So I know the people, Brent Todd's is bigger than mine, so I can tell you right now. So what is theirs worth? And the final thing about that logger, he's like, this just blows my mind. I filled out a lot of paperwork for people's estates. This will be the first like this. Guys, don't let this opportunity go by. Remember what I said. God feeds the birds. He does not deliver those worms. Who's up? I know one thing we need to tell y'all. If Hub City, if you want to come to the Hub City Brewery, where Kristen's husband actually is the brewmaster, we're going to go eat pizzas. And those who want to come, we'll need to get a head count. Brent, my turn. I love it. By the way, I got something. I got one. Brent, it's perfect. You didn't know I got something on. Turn around. Brent's got on this shirt. I want to tell you something. Somebody said, I don't know how to talk to people about the business. If you're wearing one of these sweatshirts, by the way, I have no financial ties to the sweatshirts. Don't get this. I'm not selling them. But if somebody says, if you're walking around with that sweatshirt, and they say, what's partner code? Then they just addressed you, right? I love the idea. I saw Dana's shirt. Look, hey, stand up. Look at her shirt. She got a sparkle. So come up here where they can see it. So she's got on the sparkly one. She made herself one. And she got her in the pants too. So I guarantee you people are asking. So they ask her what she's doing. Now we got a skinny drop shirt. So they approach you. What's going on? Doesn't mean you'll get them. You got the buttons. Doesn't matter what their reasons. You never know who's going to ask. Anyway, show of hands. We got some.
Yeah, I'll just say this because I think you're helping close it out with. Okay. So thank you, Jerry and Allison in the back, for working with the apparel. But this is where you can get it. If you want to get any, it's online. You can go online and get what you need. It's so true though. Every time I wear a partner coat, I've got a million T-shirts and things like that. Sorry, and I always get asked, "What is that? What's partner code?" You know, it's a great. Again, when you're in a company, nobody knows our name, then there's an opportunity, right? So, has this been a good day? Yeah. Here's the biggest thing as I turn it to Kristen White. Here's the biggest thing, my takeaway. If we'll just get crazy with the system of growth, if we'll just get crazy, like just get a little bit out of the box, especially I'm talking to the men in the room, like don't get held back. Like this is a huge opportunity, huge business. People are making massive amounts of finances and money with this. If we'll just step out of the box, get a little crazy, right? Post twice a day, religiously. Don't compare yourself to other people. Get on the IPA Zoom. And if you're somebody that says, I'm starting to sell boxes, but I've never made a conversion, then this week, put a goal down. Hey, I'm gonna reach out to a customer a day every single week, one a day, and my whole goal is to master this moving a customer to a brand partner. So I'm going to go grab me somebody like a Kristen White and go, look, if I get a customer that wants to hear more about becoming a brand partner, will you show them with me? And she'll say, absolutely. Or someone else will say, absolutely. All you got to do is ask. But get good at that. Because I'll tell you this, if you'll master the 2-a-day post, don't compare yourself to others, get on the IPA Zoom, and then when you start selling some boxes of drops, master the conversion. Master that. 2024 is going to be lights out. Because once you got that part, you can train everybody. Like you are your own leader to train your organization. You already know the tools. And the beautiful thing about it is they don't change. They're simple. And it's something we can do each and every day. So thank you for making the commitment to be here. We're super grateful for you, and we love you so much, and we appreciate you being a part of this community and family. Turn it to Kristen White.
Again, thank you so much for coming and staying. If you would like to go to the Hub City Brewery downtown Jackson, we're going to have some pizzas, do some